If you've all had a chance to look at the minutes, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July 16th, 2026.
Okay, a motion
I'll second it.
and second approved, okay? And can we get a motion to adopt
No, we had the
tonight's?
vote. We had the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, can we get a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I'll make a motion to approve the current agenda as written.
Okay,
I'll second that.
second motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so let's open up our council meeting this evening to public comment. And we invite anyone that has a comment they would like to make to come to the podium and state your name, please. And you have 3 long minutes, so we'll start right off the bat.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Andy Beatles and I live at 193 South Center here in Hiram. I'm here tonight as a friend of the family behind the Let's Play Childcare project. As someone who cares about what kind of community Hiram continues to be. I also want to say this as a parent. I personally use this childcare for my own children and they are fabulous. I felt completely comfortable leaving the most precious people in my life in their care. It's not something I say lightly, and it's part of why I'm here tonight. I want to start with the fact that childcare is infrastructure. It's not a luxury or a nice to have. It's the thing that makes it possible for parents to hold jobs, for local employers to find workers, and for families to actually put down roots here. Right now, licensed childcare in this county barely meets a third of the need. That's not a small gap. That's thousands of families making do with less than they need. As you know, we no longer live in a world where single-family wage earners can support a household. This project would add 70 new childcare spots on the south end of the valley. It would create roughly 23 new local jobs at wages well above the state average for this field. It would step in to fill a gap left by the after-school program at Canyon Elementary, offering tutoring, music, meals, and a safe place for kids while parents are still at work. I also want to speak briefly to the concerns I know some of you have raised because I think they're reasonable concerns and they deserve a real answer, not just reassurance. On the future use of the property, this building comes with legally enforceable use restrictions from the current owner that last 50 years, restricting exactly the kind of uses neighbors worry about: nuisances, noise, adult content, alcohol, and gambling facilities. The family is also willing to add deed restrictions on top of that if it gives this council more confidence. On the traffic concern, the data does not support the concern. Based on real drop-off and pickup records from their existing locations, this center would add 4 cars during the morning rush and essentially none during afternoon pickup. On parking near the school, they've already committed to fencing and dedicated on-site parking specifically to keep their families off school property. What strikes me most is that this building was built as a school. It already has an outdoor play space, the fire exits, the restroom, everything the state requires for childcare licensing, with almost no modification needed. That's rare, and it's exactly why this project is viable here when it hasn't been viable elsewhere. This will be a licensed childcare facility, licensed through the state. I'd ask you to approve the rezoning tonight. Not next month, not after another round of study, but tonight. There are families waiting on this, and there is a business already ready to invest. Please give them a chance to do that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So I had a question about your comments, if I may. You indicated that there would only be 4 cars?
During the drop-off time in the morning,
In the
correct?
drop-off, only
Mhm.
4 cars coming in?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
where do you get that study from?
So in May, we had 38 children in our childcare.
Uh-huh.
Our licensed capacity at this other building will be 70. And during that half an hour time frame, there was only 4 parents that came. So
Now,
they
which
come
half an hour
before,
time frame are you talking about?
Does the school start at 8? So it'd be
7:30 to 8.
15 minutes before or 20 minutes before and 10 minutes after.
So when do the majority of the cars come? Because you can't, I mean, obviously.
A
you're
lot
gonna
of them,
have
a
more
lot of them
for-
will drop off their elementary school kids at 8:30, 8:45 at the elementary schools, and then drop the kids off at daycare or before. So 8:30, 8:45 is really when we get our major rush. We get quite a few early, 6:37
Mhm.
that are having to travel, but Yeah, during that time period, it's not a big deal. And then the after school, the rush after school, we will add none. It's 2:35. There's no parents that pick up their child. In fact, we'll decrease it because we are going to offer tutoring and music lessons, piano lessons, and that kind of thing. So we expect some of those middle school students to come to our building rather than be picked up right at that time.
Didn't you say, though, that you're going to, for Canyon Elementary, some of those
We would like to.
programs, so you would, after school, you're
Yes,
actually
but-
transferring?
Yes, but
Kids to
they,
your
Canyon
school.
gets out at a different time.
Okay.
Closer to 3:20
Okay.
versus,
After the junior high,
Okay.
yeah,
kids are out.
so it shouldn't affect it at all.
And then you also said that your current has 38, right?
Currently have 38 in our two
And
facilities.
then if you go to 70, I'm not saying exactly double, but you think 35 to, so from 4 would be transferred, the double that number would be closer to 8.
We only have 2 currently. So
Oh,
if we
I
already
thought you
double
one
said,
one-
I thought you said 4.
I
Okay,
probably did.
okay. Got you. Appreciate your additional information.
So while you're
Any other questions?
up here, just a question, because I know you're up next, but we'll get
That's fine.
into that. Maybe let's finish with our public comment and then we'll come back to the agenda item. Thank you.
Any other questions on my comment?
No, thank you. Are there other public commenters?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Chris Gibbs. I'm a real estate agent, and I'm representing the Hammackers in the purchase of the former LDS Seminary building. Been a resident of Hiram most of my life. Thank you for letting me speak. As a realtor, I believe strongly in protecting private property rights while encouraging land uses that benefit the broader community. These two principles are not mutually exclusive. They often go hand in hand. Property owners should have the opportunity to use their property in ways that are reasonable and compatible with the surrounding area and beneficial to the community, while cities have the responsibility to ensure those uses fit within thoughtful planning. I believe a daycare center will accomplish both. The building was not designed or built as a single-family residence. It was constructed as an institutional building with classrooms, commercial-style spaces, parking, and layout intended to serve people, not as a home. In fact, the church itself chose to market the property through a commercial real estate broker and are exclusively advertising it on a platform called CREXI, which stands for Commercial Real Estate Exchange. Thus, they recognize the nature of the property. From a practical standpoint, converting this building into a single-family residence would require an extraordinary financial investment and a significant reconstruction. It is difficult to see that as the highest and best use of this property. On the other hand, a professional daycare is a natural continuation of the building's original purpose. It continues to serve children and families. It sits adjacent to a middle school in an area that already accommodates educational activity rather than a traditional residential streetscape. The proposal reuses an existing building instead of leaving it vacant or requiring costly redevelopment. As you consider this request, I would encourage you to ask not only what has the zoning always been, but also what is the most appropriate use of this unique property today. This isn't about changing the character of an established residential neighborhood. It's about recognizing that this particular parcel is different from the surrounding residential lots. Good planning sometimes requires treating unique properties differently when the facts support it. Finally, I would encourage you to consider the broader needs of Hiram and Cache Valley. Utah continues to face a shortage of quality childcare, and access to daycare is a challenge for many working families. Expanding childcare options is not only a benefit to parents, it supports employers, strengthens the local economy, and helps make Hiram an attractive place for young families to live and work. Every zoning decision involves balancing private property rights and the public interest. In this case, I believe those interests align. Allowing this adaptive reuse preserves an existing building, meeting a genuine community need, respects the investment of responsible property owners, and makes a productive use of a property that's never truly designed to function as a home. I respectfully ask you to consider this proposal on its individual merits and allow this property to continue serving the community in a way that makes practical, economic, and planning sense. Thanks for your time and your service.
Good timing. Thank you, Chris.
You want to introduce yourself? Say Ivana Bato.
Fun butter.
And Alexandria Bertola. I am her mother. I have been using this daycare for almost 3 years. And I've been using this daycare and it means so much to me. And I will always support Misty because she got me and helped me when I was at my lowest. I was not healthy. I had a lot of issues going on and she gave me the helping hand that I needed to get back to work and take care of my beautiful daughter and take care of my health. So please, if you can, thank you so much. And I support her through anything. She has helped me so much. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Hello, Mayor and council members. Really glad to be able to speak to you guys today.
Tell us your name.
Sorry, I'm Mick Zeller. I live just right up the road. So I am in for support of rezoning this building. So as a parent myself, I know just how challenging it can be to try and find respectable people to watch my kids while I'm at work. Not only like is it just hard to find people, but it's also hard to get into the door. I view this change more as a public good for our community to allow parents the ability to find and then be able to place their kids in a place that they know that they can be safe, where the city and the state checks in on them and makes sure that the kids are safe. So I am in support for the rezoning of this property. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Holly Parker. I live at 129 East 300 South, and this is kind of terrifying, but I'm doing it because I fully support Misty Hamaker and what she's trying to do for the community that that I'm privileged of being able to grow up in. And I want to help her and the people in my community. So if you would please pass this for her. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I have 3 letters. Would you like them read or? do you want me
Were
to
they the
pass?
ones that were
Are
sent?
they the
to
ones that were emailed to us?
One, I have one from Cassie Alcon. We did not receive that one.
Okay.
She says, my name is Cassie Alcon. Alcon. I'm a single mom and employee of Let's Play Childcare in Hiram. I am writing in favor of the opening of the new childcare center in Hiram. Childcare's challenges. Oh, this is really hard for me to do. Childcare changes the lives of parents and children it serves, as well as the employees who work there. I have a bachelor's degree and have worked for 7 years in my field of study before taking employment in childcare. My previous job was not a good fit for the stage of life that I'm in as a single mom of 4 children. My children need me to have a flexible schedule, which will give them the ability to, which we have been able to find working in childcare. Taking employment at Let's Play Childcare has been a tremendous help for me and my children. Facing divorce while pregnant was a very uncertain time, but the opportunity to work in childcare allowed me to continue to support my family economically. This job has been flexible to the needs of my children, allowing me to work hours that allow me to support their involvement in school and community and extracurricular activities. A center in Hiram would make it possible for many parents to continue to contribute to the local workforce by seeking employment and furthering their careers. Some will have the opportunity to work at the center and enjoy the flexibility that it provides, while others may. While many others will trust caregivers at the center to their children while they work in our community. Thank you for your consideration on your matter. I just want to comment that this is something that one of my 2 most valuable things as an employer is my employees. I start them at $20 an hour. I give them a $1 an hour raise when we become a high quality daycare, which we are. That's a yearly, very difficult thing to do. There's only 8 in Cache Valley out of the 78 that are in childcares. We are 2 of the 8. And I want my employees to, I don't want them to stay forever because for a lot of people, that is not if I can't give you a retirement, I want you to continue somewhere else that can. But while you're there, bring your children. If you need to drop them off, then we'll make you come at 8:15. If you're Grandma Melinda and only have 2 hours worth of energy, I'll book you for 2 hours. I try and be very good to my employees. And when I'm done with this, because I will one day be done with this, my intention is to make it an employee-owned business where they each own a part and receive a part of the profit. So for me, employees is the number 2 reason I do this. Okay, did you receive Kelsey Fenton? I don't believe you did.
That name doesn't
I
say don't
didn't.
believe.
Okay,
so.
Kelsey Fenton, she lives on Wapie Loop. She said, I am writing in support of the proposed zoning change that would allow a new child care center in the former seminary building. As both parents of 2 children who attend this day, as both a parent of 2 children who attend this childcare and a licensed clinical social worker who works with children and families in Cache Valley, I have seen firsthand the tremendous impact that quality childcare has on families in our community. Our family has had an overwhelmingly positive experience with this program. My children are genuinely excited to attend each day, and it is clear that they are cared for by staff who are invested in their safety, development, and well-being. Having dependable, high-quality childcare allows our community to work, contribute to our community, and know our children are in a nurturing environment. Professionally, I also understand how critical stable childcare is for a child's social and emotional development, for the mental health and stability of families. When families have access to reliable childcare, parents are better able to maintain employment, reduce stress, providing greater stability for the children. Communities with accessible childcare are stronger communities. As our area continues to grow, the need for quality childcare continues to increase. Supporting this zoning change is an investment in Hiram's family's workforce and future. Thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration, Kelsey Fenton. And then I think the last one, which is from Lacey Gregerson, you have. Does that sound right? Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. And we'll get back to you. We're going to follow the agenda right now. If there are no more public comments.
You know, Mayor, I think we're overlooking a lot of stuff.
State, give us your name.
David Zeller. Sorry, President. Everybody calls Misty Teacher Misty. My kids have, my grandkids have. They love going there. They come back better than we send them. That doesn't happen in non-licensed daycare. Here we have a chance to expand this successful program. Why are we even debating this? This is so successful. It's helped raise these kids to be good citizens. Why would we even consider not?
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm not sure that the question is the quality of the daycare versus the location. And that's all I'll say. I know that she runs a class 1 daycare. That I've done my homework enough to know that she's probably in the top 2% in the state of quality, and I'm grateful for that. So the question is not the quality, it's the location. I think that's the topic tonight. And so we want to stick to that because of the stickiness of where it's at and the conversations we've had. But we will come back to that after we move on to our next agenda item, if we can. So I'd like to, is there any more public comment? Do you want to close the public comment? Make a motion? Okay, we'll close the public comment. We're going to go to 10A. We have Kent and Denise Haddock here.
We have, yeah.
Oh, we have a public hearing? Okay. So I'd like to open the public hearing at this time?
I'll make a motion to open a public hearing.
Okay,
Do I need to state
I'll
the time?
second that.
okay.
Rebecca, exactly how it's.
Yes, I will make a motion to open the public hearing to receive public comment on adjusting the pay range of the Hiram City Justice Court Judge for fiscal year 2026, 2027, and amending section 2.12.010 of the Hiram City Municipal Code.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, is there comment, discussion with regard to the pay range of the Hiram City Court, our judge for the fiscal year 26, 27? I know that he and I are in discussions and there is a pending outcome from the state before we talk about finalizing his pay. Does that have any bearing on what we're talking about right now?
So in July, we adjusted his pay based upon what the state justice.
Okay, so,
state judges told us based on caseload. And so we changed that, but then in little fine print down in the other stuff, it says like, once you've set a judge's salary, it cannot be reduced during their terms. So not just one, during their terms of their elected office. And so we just need to adjust that wage back to what it was so that he can continue on and we comply with the state law. And I don't know what's going on with, the other discussions, but as of right now, we
Did
need
we
to bring
lower
it
it?
back. We lowered it because they changed
Based on
the
caseload.
Oh,
the structure of their caseloads. So even though there really wasn't a reduction in caseload, they took points, like they weighed the caseloads and it came in lower. And so the pay scale went down, but we weren't really allowed to lower it, even though they told us we had to set it in those limits. So it's really not our decision. It's,
The state law, huh?
yeah, it's just a follow through.
this is just perfunctory as far as what we need to do. We need to vote on
It's
that.
just for transparency, yes.
Yep, okay. So do we
Is there a motion to close?
have a motion?
Close it?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for the judge's salary.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Close the public hearing at this time and move on to our agenda. Go to 10A. We have Kent and Denise Haddock they are the coordinators. Please come up to the podium if you would. Our coordinators for the Just Serve program. And they are here to present Hiram City and its mayor with recognition plaque for becoming a Just Serve city. So before you do any presenting or recognition, why don't you tell everyone here and the camera just exactly what Just Serve is? In 2 minutes.
It's a program set up as an online program where people can put on projects and get volunteers to help in the communities, in the cities, in the churches, or anything in the area that need it. And that is all over everywhere. Just Service everywhere across the United States and the world. It's getting bigger every week. That's what Just Serve's about, is volunteering and getting interdenominational work and service with each other. That's what we're trying to do, build communities.
Great, thank you. And thank you for being here tonight too. So we'll turn the time.
Question. Can I
Yes,
ask a quick question? What was the criteria that Hiram City met to become a Just Serve city? Is that right?
The willingness to have volunteer programs, and you've used this before in several, like Feeding the Cemetery, which is Just Serve project.
Yeah.
And so because you're involved that way and your mayor has been anxiously involved with volunteer services and projects, we're providing this plaque today.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so we're Kent Denise Haddock we're coordinators of southern part of Cache Valley on Just Serve, and we couldn't be more happy because we live in this community. And we couldn't be more happy and honored to give this plaque to the Mayor Miller and to the City Council, because with this can make a difference in the volunteerism, the community connection of our community. And when we do these things, when we serve, we all rise. The thought came to me that long ago, President Kennedy made a comment, and I've never forgotten it. Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. I feel that if we put, ask not what your community can do for you, but what you can do for your community is part of what Just Serve is. That we give and we all rise together as we build one another and as we serve. And we're so appreciative. And so we have signs for Just Serve and also the plaque that you can put here. And this is part of, Hiram is part of the National League of Cities. So they'll be, I think that's generally in Salt Lake City that they do all of that, and we're part of it. And we're very proud that Nibley as well as Providence now has also done it. And so we're excited. The more we get together, the better it's gonna be. And so we're so excited.
Come over here and let's get your picture.
Over for it. Well, no, we need a picture.
That's gonna press you in there.
One more thing, because it's 250, Just Serve is working with America's 250, and we give to you this coin that has the Just Serve, which is the heart of the world, and we work with the world, not just communities. And on the back of it is a remembrance of the 250th year of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and give us you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for all you do. And you're our mayor, and it's just exciting.
I just have a couple of signs that they can put up in the road signs. And like the QR code that can get you right to justserve.org.
And these are our projects.
I hate to do this, but I'm gonna do a plug. National Day of Service is 9/11 this year. And there's gonna be a community Cache Valley volunteer programs like you've never seen before. There will be lots and lots to do, and also a celebration on 9/12 at Willow Park. Look for that. I'll leave this sign.
Thank you.
Signs for you as well.
We will get those up, and we sure appreciate all you do. Thank you. All right, let's move on to item B. Misty, now it's your turn. Rezone R2 to C2, discussion with the city council to consider rezoning from residential zone R2 to commercial zone C2 located at 400 West Main Street. Let me just say, first of all, I really appreciate the public comment. That goes a long way in, I think, support of a good cause. I mean that because I really think that in today's world, daycare is necessary, and finding and having a quality daycare is vital, I think, to a community. And I truly appreciate, I wish I had kids that were going to you, but maybe great grandkids I would have. But thank you, though, for what you're doing so far. Regardless of the outcome of this decision tonight, I want you to know personally that I appreciate professional people that take care of our children in a way that can be trusted. So thank you. Would you like to say more at the podium, Misty?
I would, if you wouldn't mind. I timed it 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for your service and your time here. Boy, this is not going to go well. I can tell you that. We've already talked about the needs for childcare, and there is a real need. And there's 1,900 licensed spots for 6,300 children in Cache Valley. We would open 70 additional spots. And childcare isn't a service childcare isn't just a service for parents. It's essential to community infrastructure. Without dependable childcare, parents can't work, employees struggle to hire, and our local economy suffers. Our center would also create jobs and generate additional tax revenue for the city. We currently employ 13 local people. This new facility would create approximately 23 additional jobs. I want you to see my employees. See what kind of people work for me. This is Lindsay Sanders. I stole her from the school district because I could pay her more and give her all the days off she ever wanted. This is Lisa. She just has one little one at home and didn't want to quite go back to a real full-time job yet. She has 4 children. Lindsay has 5. This is Wendy. She raised 9 children. She works for senior care in Logan. This is Taylor. She used to work for me, but she found a better opportunity at a dentist, which is wonderful. And we are glad to send her on to the next thing. Okay. We also plan to help, gosh, this is hard. We also plan to help meet other important community needs. With the after-school program at Canyon Elementary ending, we hope to provide after-school care, tutoring, music lessons, nutritious meals, and a safe place for children while their parents are at work. Many of our families serve as teachers and employees of the school district, so our center will directly support our local schools as well. Okay, this is your question, is why this building? So after searching for more than a year, we have found that this building is truly unique. Already, it has an outdoor play space. Can you tell me how many commercially licensed areas have an outdoor space? So few, and we cannot cross a parking lot to get to it. And so that makes it even harder. But we also have to have fire exits in every room, which this has. We have to have a certain number of restrooms, which this has. There are many features that are required for state licensing that this building has. Most other buildings lack these features, especially the outdoor space, and would require extensive renovations, making a child care center financially impractical. This building was designed for children, making it an ideal fit for this purpose. Okay, I think the major concern of our last meeting was what happens after we leave. Well, first of all, we're not leaving because when I'm done or when we outgrow it, we will have another one in Mendon or in wherever. Hiram will always need children. I mean, well, they will always need children too, but they will always need childcare. And when I'm ready to be done, I'm selling it to my employees. So, but regarding the future use of this building, this property already has a legally enforceable use restrictions from the current owners, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That will remain in effect for the next 50 years. And I quote from our purchasing contract. As a former place of worship, the building may not be used for any of the following: any public or private nuisance, any business, trade, or activity which, in the grantor's sole opinion, is noxious, unreasonably noisy, or offensive, is morally offensive, involves the manufacture, storage, sale, or consumption of drugs, alcoholic beverages, tobacco products, any form of gambling or betting or loitering. There goes your gas station, there goes your mechanic shop, is a place of public entertainment and amusement. If you would like us to, we are willing to add additional deed restrictions, but I can tell you that I can't think of anything that they haven't already covered. And it's not Hiram City who would have to fight the future owners. It's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who will withhold that with their lawyers. So it's not going to be a financial burden on you. Beyond that, the building size and layout make it practical for very few commercial uses other than an office space, an educational facility, or a child care. Talked about the traffic. Traffic was also discussed. We reviewed our child care arrival data for May, and it shows that full capacity, we would expect to add about 4 vehicles during the morning rush and anticipate no increase during the afternoon pickup. We are confident that parking with the school will not be an issue, as we will clearly communicate with our families that it is prohibited. As an additional safeguard, we are committed to installing fencing to further discourage the use of the school's parking lot if that becomes an issue. As elected leaders, you have the opportunity of making a lasting positive impact on families in Hiram. This project creates childcare opportunities, good paying jobs, and services that will strengthen our community. We respectfully ask that you approve the zoning change. thank you again for your time. We respectfully ask that you make a decision tonight rather than table it. Knowing where we stand will allow us to move forward, continuing to invest in Hiram and begin serving families who are waiting for these much-needed childcare opportunities. Do you have any questions for me?
I have a question.
Please.
So I know from the junior high, there is a sidewalk that comes through there. Is that going to maintain open, or are you going to put a fence across there?
If it needs to, we will. If I don't anticipate a problem. Honestly, what happens currently is that parents drop their kids off at the seminary building and they walk to the junior high. It's not the opposite way around. So I can see us having the problem rather than them. And we are willing to deal with whatever needs to happen, and we are willing to put up a fence if it's required, or remove the sidewalk if that would be needed.
I don't know that the sidewalk would need to be eliminated if you put a gate that you could lock on it.
Right.
If that were a problem, I wondered about that just to cross traffic and would make it a little bit more private, even a little more
Right.
secure. And then in the back, you would complete the fencing so that
Yes, the state licensing would require it.
the fencing. What kind of fencing do they require? Just
A
curious.
4-foot fence is all, 4-foot fence.
A 4-foot fence.
Mhm.
Okay. I can't get over a 4-foot fence anymore, so you should be good. That's great. No. Okay, other questions?
So it's my understanding that in order to rezone this, it needs to be requested from the current owner.
Correct. So what I need is some kind of assurance from you that once I own it, that you will go make that decision. Otherwise, I end up with a building that will sink me financially.
Is there any chance that the church,
I have petitioned, and they said they will stay out of all. They had some really good reasons, which were not explained to me, but they will not interact.
Tony,
Oh, they would like to be politically neutral.
can we bring Tony up for a
Please.
second? Tony?
So Tony,
Okay.
I have a question, just, would this work with a conditional use permit
Well,
in its current zoning?
it would not.
It would
no.
not in its current zoning, so there's really no advantage to applying for a conditional use.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know if you could put a conditional use on, keep it zoned the way it is, and then if, heaven forbid, something didn't work out, it stays in its current zone. I don't know that
Yeah,
works.
we went through, when we went through the planning commission with this, and again, the application was the city does 100% supports the Hammockers and what they've done with the community and for the community, and even neighboring communities. The code as it's written, it restricts professional childcare as a primary use in the zone that it's in, and even a rezone to the commercial district. So if the professional childcare bumps up to changes to a conditional use or a permitted use in a residential district, then it would locate in residential neighborhoods a full-time operating childcare without the resident being the primary use on that property.
Okay, I understand.
Yep. And in this case, when I was talking with the Hammockers, the approach was to get some guidance from the planning commission and the city council. Would it be in better favor to move the professional childcare as a permitted accessory use to a permitted use in the commercial zone district? Staff supports that now. Because in a commercial district, there's no reason that I can see why a primary childcare cannot be permitted use in those zone districts. So that, the way that we approached it was to get feedback, and just so everybody knows that this is just that. It's feedback and discussion. No, we cannot rezone a property tonight. It cannot be rezoned. They're looking for some direction. Last time we met, we also contacted the city attorney for legal counsel, and the path that we're going to get feedback it's a path that we can take for discussion only, but he advised that to get this property rezoned, any property rezoned, the property owner of record must be that applicant. And in this case, we haven't met that yet, from what I understand from discussions.
So does that deem it impossible for us to vote on it tonight?
Oh, yeah, there's no vote.
No
There's no vote, but what their Hamakas are looking for is, would you do this? Because the Hamakers are in a position where they have to acquire the property in order to get a rezone through their path.
Right.
But the current property owners, it's either the Hamakers or the current property owners to complete that path to get a rezone approved by the city council that is on the books.
And we won't get a representative from the church to come and to state the case. I mean,
A letter, would they?
a
write
letter.
And she did, and the city attorney also advised that the city council should not even make an action on a letter of affidavit from the property owner supporting it, the rezone.
Puts us in a tough spot.
So,
Can I just make a comment too, so that you, not just the audience, but the council is also.
Pull your microphone over to you.
Sure. So the state law requires that there's a public hearing on rezones. And in order for the public hearing, for a zoning map amendment, we have to have like a resolution and ordinance to rezone. And we must send a courtesy notice to every affected property owner at least 10 calendar days before the public hearing. The notice must also be published as a Class B notice for at least 10 days before the hearing. And so if you were to tell someone that you support this and we have a public hearing, and that's the process that's set out by law, you've done a disservice to the state law that says you should have the public hearing and give the opportunity for everyone and the notification to those people around that the state law requires us to send the notice.
So
I
a
just-
public hearing has to happen.
A public hearing has
First.
to happen first.
Okay.
And the
The-
noticing to go along with that.
yeah, and working with the Hamakers, we did that. We publicly noticed that a rezone was in consideration to the state website, and we sent out mailers that we were going to be having these discussions. But at the time, there wasn't not an ordinance written to the planning commission specifically. It was the discussion that we were going to do this. And then when we came to the meeting last time, we did not have the ordinance drafted for it. And that is when, in findings that the current property owner is declining, respectively, has made known they won't make an application to it. And our city attorney has stopped the city council to rezone the property. So at the end of the day, a property owner will need to come to the city council to get a rezone for the property.
Okay, can I ask
And-
Chris Gibbs, can I ask you, you're a realtor?
Yeah.
Is there, I don't know what you would call it, a grace period of buying something and then you have so long to say, you know what, this just isn't working out. It's not,
Not
there's no grace
your
period?
your due diligence, preliminary, that's your window to make sure. So no, it wouldn't be buy the property, there's a loan involved, there's so much more to it that you can't undo,
Mhm.
that.
It's not like buying a car.
No, you can't take it back.
It's
You're
not
happy.
the Lemon Act, huh?
Mhm.
Okay.
Misty, can I, oh,
And-
sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna,
Can I-
can I just say one more
Yeah.
thing? It's interesting to me that the church is treating this as a commercial property. They're advertising it as a commercial property. They're not even advertising this on the Utah Real Estate website as a residential property. The current broker specializes in commercial property. And it's bewildering to me that they want to sell it as a commercial property, but I can see where you guys are coming from, and I might be able to put a little more pressure on them to make them understand if they want the value for the property, they may have to step forward and do something to sell it as a commercial property, make it a commercial property. But you can only imagine on the church's side, if this is not going to be rezoned, what do they have to sell?
Yeah.
And the value will plummet. I don't know who will buy it.
Yeah, and that's a
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah.
You know, your probably your only other customer is the school board.
Yeah, that's just
And
a
that's-
$500,000 storage facility.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's an even tougher sell, I can tell you,
Yeah.
from the school.
The school budget's always
Yeah.
low on money,
Yeah,
so-
good luck on that one.
Yeah, so
Okay.
what we did as staff, we reached out with the Hammockers with Olive Branch to guide them through to get some discussion opened and see where this could lead. And where we're at tonight is that the property owner must make the rezone application. And at this point, if the Hammockers purchase it, it will go back through a re-noticing and with a drafted ordinance for the rezone and go through the steps again. And, you know, about the property specifically, right now, the property owner rights are to the church. They have every right to do what they would like to do with that. And the city's supporting the property owner rights to do what they want to do with their property. As it is, the city has not interfered into any of this. And, you know, I look at the building and I look at the site, there's more steps for the Hammockers to go through following a rezone. A rezone, after the rezone, there would be a site plan a process to be measured up to the checks and balances that the code has for parking and drop-offs for the building. I understand the building's constructed, and maybe I'm missing something here. It's been constructed to serve the purpose for classrooms, and the site was designed to park the instructors and the users for the classrooms walked from the school, and there's not a drop-off process unless they were potentially using the roundabout to drop the kids off there that's on the school property. And I could be overlooking it or missing something there, but as it stands, for the church's right to use that property as they designed it and planned it, they don't have a drop-off and pickup that I can see on their property.
So Tony, are you saying that if it were to be rezoned commercial, that the Hammockers could have additional requirements to meet?
There would be a site plan approval process where they demonstrate how many parking stalls they need, where they're gonna have pickup and drop off. If pickup and drop off is a part of it, of their business plan, show on the site, and they did do that. If you scroll down,
Yeah.
they did provide and looked forward into that.
Is that the map that was
They've, yeah,
provided with additional parking and things?
and they've made the efforts to look ahead to it as well.
So based
That's it
on
right
how
there.
it's laid out here, would that potentially meet the requirements?
With a detail,
commercial.
it shows that the effort and concept is there. And it does not, what it doesn't show is the
Traffic
detail
flow.
of the dimensions of what we're looking at. To see, like, is the parking stall presented that way,
Does it
a
meet the-
20 by 9, there's a scale, not a scale to it. Looking at it and looking at some of the cars on the pictures in there, it may.
Missy, if
It
you
may fit
have
that.
70 students, which would be your max, how many teachers how many staff?
Most we would ever get to.
Okay, so 9, and then,
Mhm.
so then if we tried to figure this out and you said 9, and then we're saying, okay, we need a spot for somebody to come and drop off, or 1 or 2 at a time, that potentially goes to 11, up kind of a minimum, but, okay.
Mm. It's,
I know this is a really hard, I do want to tell you, I appreciate everybody's comments. I wish that things were different. It just seems really a struggle for me to try to, well, we can't even go through the approval process or talk about it, but I wish we could help you find property in town that was not this spot right where it's not already zoned. I wish we had, you said you look for a year, and you have a lot of public support, and like the mayor said, he's done homework, and we've kind of looked at what you have added to the community, and it's positive, and we're not trying to throw water on you, that's for sure.
I agree with you. No one here is. And from a zoning perspective and looking at this, it's currently in a residential zone district. We all know that. In the general plan, these are identified as residential and institutional uses. There's been 2 other residential institutional uses in Hiram that I'm aware of. The old white church, it has repurposed to a residential use. The seminary
Other
building that
seminary
I went
building.
to repurposed to a residential use in that residential zone. And we have been consulting with our general plan update consultant, and they proposed a draft to the staff as we work through this process, and the commercial district did not cross 400 West. And you could read the general plan as it stands now. The general plan is guiding the city. I say the city council is the one that makes the final decisions. It's guiding the city council to not change the residential district on 400 West that way to include anything else but residential and institutional.
Sure.
Yeah.
Misty, can I ask a question? On the proposed parking here, you've got 14 spaces. Are there any other options as far as extending that all the way down and creating some sort of loop? Like
We-
opening all of that up?
We looked at that, go ahead.
There's a couple things. One thing she mentioned earlier is that a lot of parents already use that spot as a drop-off for the middle school.
I've done that.
I've done
I
that.
picked
know
up there
that other
too.
people in this room have done that. And so it currently actually functions as a drop-off for probably more traffic than we would get on a normal day. So that drop-off actually already operates, so there's space to do it the way it is. As far as the number of parking spots that are needed, That is to scale. It doesn't have scale on it. We took this measured space of how much is there, the parking spots that are already there, and we put that to scale on there. We want to minimize how much we're doing because we love the green space, those beautiful blue spruce trees that are there. We want to meet city.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if there's additional commercial requirements to have to widen that or have to increase that after the fact.
The street is the proper width to go with the two-way direction. The one concern that was brought up at one point was drainage sense, that sort of thing. We have that engineered so the parking spots slope properly and drain the way it currently drains as far as that goes. But yeah, the space, everything should work. It's just a matter of the actual zoning. One big question we did have, and you guys can talk about this separately, is someone brought up last time the idea of like a conditional rezoning, like conditional on us owning the property. I don't know if that's legally proper or not. That's
No, we've had our counsel with our city attorney, and he advised what I had expressed earlier. And the where we're at today, taking this path in good faith, I felt it was a benefit to reach out to an all branch with the Hammockers and see where we can get. Without the property owner being the applicant for the rezone is not a burden on you, on the city council to make a decision.
Yeah. You know, I would,
And it's not on us. It has to come, the application has to come from the property owner of record for a rezone.
Yeah.
So that leaves the Hammockers at a position to purchase the property and make the application to get that answer, or the current property owners make the application to benefit their potential buyers to get the answer that the city attorney's advising you to do.
So, go ahead.
Sorry, two more really quick questions. Chris, what are the chances of petitioning the church?
I mean, I'd love to do it, because I'd like them to understand two things. One, they want the value of the property, they've got to step up. I think that's where they need to be. They did rattle off some kind of issues with their tax exempt status, and I think it was more on the political side. I don't think they fully understood. We don't want them to come to city council and fight. We just need them as an owner. And maybe that's where there's a little bit of misunderstanding, and maybe I can reach out to them, the agent. I can't talk to the church, but I can talk to their agent. He's familiar with these properties. He's sold several properties for the church, so he knows their processes. It's slow because they have a lot of attorneys and a lot of committees.
but I can sure see, I can see where they're coming from, because I don't see them coming and pitching to get the zoning changed. I think that's a pretty big hurdle for them to do.
I don't think they're as motivated financially. I don't think they necessarily, if I was the owner of it, I'd be doing it so I can get the money.
Yeah.
But I don't think the church, they've torn buildings down. If they feel like it's going to be a detriment to the community, they'll just tear the building down.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd be happy to try.
Yeah, just a question. Misty, where are you in the loan process?
We've been pre-qualified.
And it's conditional upon,
So we're under contract for the property, and I haven't continued with the loan. We're qualified for it, so it's just a matter of getting this passed, or, yeah. It will happen.
So let me throw another real big wet log on this fire. But it's a positive, because when it dries out, it'll really burn. I'm just looking at the land and the space that you have, because I think that's been part of a little bit part of the hesitancy, quite honestly, is that everything's pretty tight. There's not a roundabout. There's nothing there. Have you approached the neighbors to the east? Because they have a very extremely large backyard back there. Have you approached them about possibly purchasing just a portion of that property there to put in a roundabout, something that would, there again, conditioned upon the condition, based upon the condition. But I'm just saying, have you approached them as far as possibly, if this were to come through, would you sell us a turning circle there enough to do that? To me, I think that would go a long way with helping your cause.
If-
Dropping a couple $100,000 more on the property that we would always be dropping $600,000 on to possibly, get the changeover. It's kind of reaching to that point where there's very thin margins in this business. And so that's the other reason why most space is $300 a square foot. This is closer to like $150
Right.
a square foot.
Yeah.
And so like the margins are tight. Yeah.
Maybe they'd donate the land.
Maybe.
Maybe they'd donate it. But no.
And the site as it is, it very well could work. I mean, what needs to be done with it is what will be done with it if it moves forward through the proper application. Civil engineer or engineer will have that property surveyed and will design all the needs that it needs to meet our code. And when the new parking gets put in, a stormwater analysis will be done, and there will be checks and balances for the property, and it very well could work.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
So I have a question, going back to what Stephanie was saying about the public hearing, and you said that you had put out public notices, but that doesn't.
we put out the public notice as a courtesy to the neighbors.
Okay,
because
but
this
there
was
hasn't
opening into
been a
discussion.
public hearing, is
There
that
has been a
correct?
public hearing.
There has
Yeah.
been?
Yeah, the planning commission
okay.
has done the,
And so does
the-
the city council need to have a public hearing too?
Tony, do you know, I looked it up, I can't find anything in our ordinance.
Yeah.
And I know in the past, the city has just done that so that the city council could also get the comments from the resident. But I don't know if it's required by state law or if it's just planning.
Yeah.
So I really haven't researched it.
it's been done with the planning commission. The planning commission, to my best knowledge and understanding, has been the public hearings held with the planning commission, and they make that recommendation to the city council. If it was done differently before my time, it was probably done as a courtesy,
Right, that's what I
further
think it was.
courtesy.
I thought we did it in both places so
You
that
guys
we
have,
got the
so that you got
comment
the
from the
comments.
city.
The city
Yeah.
council has, but that's what I didn't know if it was mandatory by the,
required?
but it's
Yeah.
not required. It was more
Yeah.
just information.
Okay,
to-
so
Was
Well,
there
it's
any
it
not.
only has
opposition
to
from
have
any
one.
of the neighbors?
Not at
There
the
was none.
planning
No
commission.
opposition?
No, I received one response and feedback, and it was from a senior citizen that was supportive of it and mentioned something about a feral cat colony being down there. And so,
And
Do you know
there
it's
was
still
the
about a
public
million
comment,
dollars?
the lady who lived across the street,
That's
Charity,
or so
she
much
came and
onto our-
supported it also.
yeah,
Yeah, I
in a different
received- yeah,
setting,
we
yeah.
received her email.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
You know what,
public
uh,
comment in the meeting. So,
these
you know,
were
this is the
smaller
path that
footprint
we've
kids,
taken, and it-
I think you're gonna open
it's my recommendation that
people.
to follow the city attorney's guidance at this point, and you can only you can act on a property owner's application to rezone the property. And all the information that we heard tonight from the neighborhood and the public and supporters of the Hammockers was valued information.
Absolutely.
And we all value that. We've all had an opportunity to hear it. Now it's up to the property owner of record to make that application. And I say that with guidance from our legal counsel.
Okay, thank you.
And I-
Chris, we depend a lot on you, as are the amicers.
Go down there and put them in a half Nielsen until they.
There you
There
go.
you go.
And yeah, Misty, I feel like our hands are a little bit tied from the legal side to be able to, I mean, we can't really sway you one way or the other in how you proceed with the sale, but I'm not sure that we can make a decision without the proper
How
legal.
fast can one, if this church decided to do it, what's a reasonable amount of time from your perspective
Tony?
that they could accomplish it?
I can answer that question. If they made an application, we have public hearings held by the Planning Commission every second Thursday of the month. This upcoming Thursday is a public hearing, but it won't qualify the required 10-day public noticing. I have called the Planning Commission together before on special meetings and special meeting, but if that path was chose, if we received an application, I would need a day to put that together and set up the public noticing, let it run for 10 days, have the public hearing, and then it would move on to your next city council meeting following that. So at a very minimum, 11 days, Chris. Mhm.
Outside of the legality of what, being unable to vote on something, what major concerns do you guys actually have against passing something like this? I'm just curious to see if there are any concerns that we need to address from you guys.
I would like to see more of a roundabout. I don't know if you could like widen out that end there and make it more of a roundabout just so that the traffic can flow better. Yeah, that's the parking and the traffic flow, I think for me are.
If it
kind of
was a
big
bulb,
concern.
by looking at this at first glance, a bulb would, for one vehicle, would likely make that circle. It'd be tight. The parking and the requirements for the site plans, they have landscape buffers. And looking at this, these right here, those won't qualify to have the setback of the parking, but they will put together an employee count and a parking analysis from our code. The engineer will and present that to us that it can meet. And if he's one short, he'll likely find the spot for it. But if they're 10 short, I don't know how he would be able to come up with that.
Right.
And
So you're
again,
saying that
there's
does
two-
need to be resolved before.
But
They
no,
could-
the
Oh, no.
Hammackers could make the application, or the church could make that application with or without risk, that what the improvements they want to put there, can the site support it? So
Okay.
there's another step to go through after this.
Okay.
So if a rezone application is made for this property, and that's the path that's going to be made by the property owner of record, we can also run concurrently by moving the private childcare up to a permitted use at the same time, because the staff has the ability to make those recommendations
Okay.
to work with the code. The rezone's a different animal, but that needs to be done, and it will be done. The primary childcare will be moved up to a permitted use in a commercial district. It makes the most sense for the code.
Okay.
I think the other thing, just to give you an idea, one of my concerns, and that's really close to the state highway there. And I don't know if it's going to require a traffic study. That's one of my big concerns. I expressed that last time. getting traffic in and out and how the state may, I don't know. I don't know that. It's outside of my expertise. Okay.
We did talk to UDOT already on this. This is something that it's out of their purview.
Okay.
That corner where the highway turns
Sure.
right there, and it's a county highway on where this is actually located.
Sure.
So that one's up to you guys.
Okay.
It's a county highway or?
It's a city street.
The city street.
Yeah.
county.
City
Yeah,
street.
it's a city street.
Okay. But anyway, that was one of my concerns is traffic, and I don't know if, it's something that we would continue to look at, but, anyway, I don't want you to be led to a false hope or a false, what our concerns are, but,
Covering that again, honestly, like we looked at the numbers and the drop-off times and pickup times.
sure.
It's so spaced out that, it's pretty minimal impact on that intersection. We're through there, I think we're all through there every day, all day. And just like adding a couple cars here, a couple cars there, it's pretty minimal.
Sure.
Well, I do want to thank all of you that came and commented, and it has resolved some things in my mind a little bit, and helped clarify a few things. So I appreciate that.
And I'll say the same. And I think any potential or early concerns or questions, I think could potentially be resolved.
Yeah.
So I think my biggest issue right now personally is the legalities of it.
Mhm. Yep.
We're coming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just.
Okay, so us not being the owner is
Well, it's a stop
That-
For
sign.
me,
that's
that's
the
the
big one.
biggest thing.
It's
Yeah.
not the biggest. It's actually a
if you-
hurdle we can't get past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there's other things that potentially could be worked with, traffic flows, engineering, restructuring, looking at things. I think, whatever other additional requirements may need to be met. If it was rezoned commercial, I mean, those are things you'd have to look at. But obviously tonight, the big issue is we can't.
what about you, Mayor Miller?
I think you've resolved a lot of my questions. The traffic was really my only real concern. The building itself, I don't think it could lend itself better to what you're trying to accomplish. And I think if you didn't have the reputation that you had, I don't know that I would be as, positive about it. I think I'd be a little bit more hesitant, but I think you bring a great deal of credibility to the city. I think you would walk the talk. And so I think the traffic was my concern coming into this meeting. But I think you've resolved that if you've done a traffic study and you can honestly say that, this is about what it will be, 4 or 5 cars at the very most coming at the peak time. And they can always come down Third West. They don't have to come down 101. They can come down Third West and turn in and avoid a lot of that traffic that, that we're dealing with already during the school year when, as you know, when that's really a jam when people are dropping their children off. So I think there's some real positive to it, quite honestly. I don't know that the facility would ever sell as a residential home. I just don't see that. And the school board, I honestly don't know that they would want it for what? School board offices? I don't know. So I think we have to look at, really, I think your use of that building, in my opinion, is probably ideal, what we need in that spot. But there's just all of the different factions that are creating kind of a jam. You're not the owner. I wish you were the owner, and we could move a little faster. But I think if we can get the church to step up and play ball here, I think we could make a lot further progress.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all of your time. This is a lot of time you spent on this, and I appreciate that. All of your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank all of you. Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
dearly
you.
for coming, all of you. That That's,
It made a difference.
yep,
It did.
yep. So, thanks, Tony. Okay, we'll excuse all of you if you want to go home because we're going to get into some real.
Just getting to the good stuff.
Thanks, Chris.
Wow, she took the whole room with her.
Okay, we're going to move on to 11.
Thank you.
A right now. This is introduction and approval of resolutions and ordinances. 11A is Resolution 26-24, resolution authorizing Hiram City to pick up a portion of Hiram City's firefighters' member retirement contribution with the Utah Retirement Systems. Stephanie, would you like to give us an explanation on that?
Okay, so.
You've been digging into that, I know.
Yeah, so creating the full-time fire department, we have to comply with Utah state law. Utah state law requires all cities to participate in the Utah retirement systems. There are different tiers depending on what type of employee you are. So firefighters, there's a tier that's called Firefighters Retirement System. Utah State, the state of Utah has set the retirement contributions. You can see there at 15.05 for the employee to pick up in the tier one. Tier one is anybody that was hired by a state, city, or school agency that participated in the URS before July 1st, 2011. Utah, yes. Anywhere in the state of Utah. Doesn't mean that they had to be employed all this time, but if they were employed for one day before July 1st, 2011, they will always be considered a tier one employee. So the firefighters retirement portion for a tier one is 15.05 is what they're saying the employee should contribute. The employer only has to contribute 1.61 for 16.66. Now, if you go to the tier two, there's two options with the tier two. And again, that's everybody that entered the Utah retirement system after July 1st, 2011. And that tier two, the employee, if they choose what's called a hybrid, which is no longer a hybrid because they ran out of money to put money into a 401k. So now it's truly just a pension. But the employee has to contribute 5.98 and the employer contributes 14.08 for a total of 20.06. Then tier two, they can also choose if they just want a 401k option, and then the city or the employer contributes 14.08. And so when I received this, we have always tried to make our benefits equal. So I went in and talked to Mayor Miller, and when I called the URS and I said, is this right? Why would an employee have to contribute 15.05%? But if they're in the tier two, they only have to contribute 5.98. And they said, yes, that is true. And that is why the state allows a pickup option only for public service people. So firefighters, police, that type of stuff, where a city can pick up any portion, all, none, in the middle of an employee's portion. And so we are proposing that the city picks up 12.47% of the tier one for the employee portion, which would leave the employee portion at 2.58 rather than the 15.05, which then makes it an equal benefit for all tiers of firefighter employees at the city's total contribution at 14.08. So that's what that is. And they just need a formal form and a formal resolution by you guys saying that.
And that pushes the total contribution to that 16.66.
Yes, because the employee will still have to contribute 2.58 in the tier one. The employee will still have to contribute 5.98 in the tier two if they do the pension option. And the reason why those are higher than a regular Utah, like a public employee, like everybody else in the city, is because they have a richer pension plan. They can retire. If you're a tier one, you can retire at 20 years instead of 30 years. So you get 2.5% per year rather than 2%. If you're in the tier two category in public safety, you can retire at 25 years and you get 2% per year. If you're a regular public employee, In tier 2, it's 35 years and you only get 1.5% per year. And so they do have a little higher, like they have a higher contribution rate for the employee. But again, their benefit is a lot richer compared to a regular
And that's the
public
tier 1,
employee.
right?
Tier 1 and tier 2.
Okay, but we
Mhm.
know that the tier 1 were people that potentially couldn't get a pension, where the
Yes.
other two do not get a pension potentially.
Tier 2 can choose if they want a pension or if they want a 401k
Oh,
option.
okay,
Tier 1 can only go with the pension.
the pension option.
But their option at 15.05 for the employee, in tier 1 for a public employee, like the rest of municipal workers, the city has a contribution of 14.97, and the employee isn't allowed to contribute anything. That's the full pickup option.
And the other thing
Um,
is we have no tier 1 current employees.
Current
So-
fire employees, we have tier 1 city employees, but not fire. But we could easily hire someone.
somebody.
They're just going to be someone that was in the system before 2011.
Steph, when would all of this take effect?
August 1st.
Right away.
We're going to backdate it because we already hired our fire chief. He started August 1st. And so these benefits have to apply to him. And
Okay.
it's retroactive
And he
from the
would
first
be a firefighter too.
tier 2.
Tier
So he would have the option of a 401k or a pension. And the pension, they have to be there 4 years to be vested. And then they'd get the 2% per year. And then it's the average of their highest 3-year salary. So he would be getting 8% if he stayed 4 years if you were on the pension. But it was more just making things equal so that everybody got that same employee benefit. And I think that's to me, I think is an important thing so that everybody feels appreciated. And it's not like, oh, I'm paying 15, but they're new and they're only paying 5%. So.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Well, I move to approve resolution 26-24, authorizing Hiram City to pick up a portion of Hiram City's firefighters' member retirement contribution with the Utah Retirement Systems.
I'll second that.
Okay, a second on the motion. We'll need to vote on that. Michael?
Aye.
Naylin?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. Carrie? All right, let's move on to our next item of business. I want to jump ahead here just a little bit, if you don't mind. I'd like to go to, let's
Do
see.
you have to make a motion to approve.
Well, my
approve it?
question, are you passing up the ordinance?
Yes, I thought that's what we voted on, to pass the ordinance.
We
No, we
passed
passed the
ordinance.
resolution.
Oh, the
the
resolution,
resolution.
I'm
We have
sorry.
one more ordinance and that deals with the judge's salary.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so do we need to vote on that then?
Yes, I just need, if you guys have any questions and a motion to adopt the ordinance 2615, that would then put the judges, because we held the public hearing
Mhm.
that set that salary, and because it needed to be increased, we had to hold another public hearing, and now we've set the salary that the state told us that we couldn't reduce, and so that salary is set, and hopefully it goes forward correctly. If not,
Oh.
we'll be doing it again.
Okay, so we need a motion and a second on that.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 26-15, amending chapter 2.12, section 2.12.010 of the Hiram City Municipal Code to provide for adjustments in the salaries of officers and employees of Hiram City, specifically the Justice Court Judge.
I'll second that.
Okay, let's vote on that. Rebecca?
Aye.
Naylin?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Okay. Ordinance passes. So let's move now to,
Can I ask a really weird question that I don't quite maybe understand? But
Sure.
let's say that for some reason, there's only 3 of us like we've got now, and we had 2 people vote yes and 1 vote no. And we, what?
It fails.
It fails?
Mhm. Yes.
Really? Wow. Okay. So it's not majority rules. It's actually, we've got, because we
You have to
have a
have 3
five council and we have to pass with 3.
Mhm. Mhm.
Actually, I think I'd heard that, but was a little bit puzzled by it. So I thought, oh, here's that first opportunity. So
And where we're missing,
city.
two, does the mayor get a vote in that case? No. Okay.
It's
Only
only
if there's
in
a
a
tie.
tie.
Oh,
right.
okay.
So what if, no,
So
that
if
wouldn't
there would
work
have been
either.
4 here and
Mhm.
2 voted aye, 2 voted nay, then the mayor would have been able to vote. But
Okay.
with 3, all 3 of you there have to vote
Party.
for it or not, or if one votes against it, it fails.
Okay, good question, Michael. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, good question. Okay, Larry's here to discuss a proposal of to sell outside of city limits electrical infrastructure. And I think we're talking about most likely the south side of the dam and other areas. But Larry and I have had a long discussion today. So Larry, why don't we jump into it?
Yep, that's correct. So let me just try to get this thing up on there.
Oh, you want, sorry, that's why you can't, Larry.
I
It's
can't
you.
see it yet. I think I'm on, but
No, you're not. It was me. I need to get the
Oh.
screen beam up there. His computer will just automatically connect.
it says I'm already connected, but
So go back out and disconnect
okay.
because I didn't have the screen beam up for you to connect. So I'm gonna disconnect if you disconnect.
I disconnected.
Okay.
Now
let's
it's
pull that up.
connecting again.
Let's hope it comes up here. Okay, Larry, I'm gonna disconnect you one more time. Okay, and then pull me back up.
Should I disconnect?
Yeah, disconnect.
Sorry, we thought we had this worked out.
We did. I just didn't bring the screen beam up quick enough.
Okay, so if I connect it now,
No, no, just
Oh,
wait.
no.
I've got to get a connection here and it's not finding me.
We were discussing
I did it.
okay. Tony said that
Okay,
there
one
was
second, Larry.
some kind of ordinance. I don't know if it was that
Having some.
there would be no new.
Come up, maybe. Don't connect it.
C2, which is commercial
okay.
west.
He's up, right?
No, this is mine.
It's
not finding
Larry, I have to be home at 10.
Okay, Larry, there you go.
All right, here we go. All right, we're there. Okay. Do we need to wait for Rebecca to come back or we can?
Technically, we don't have a quorum right now, so.
Oh, that's true.
So we can run
Yes, we
whenever we
do.
want.
So probably wait.
We need some
Okay.
intermission music.
Do, 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 do.
The winner is.
Rebecca Folger. Here we go. Okay. go.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for taking some time for me to come and address you and try and get some direction and counsel from you guys. I've talked to a few of you, and this is kind of, it's been a history. There's been some history involved with this certain agenda item, I guess you could say. So we're talking about the area southwest of the dam. We have had over the number of years, we've had certain requests for power connections over there from property owners, which we've been somewhat able to accommodate up until probably a year and a half ago. We amended the code. And so it kind of eliminated those requests or the ability to provide connection to anybody else out there. So recently, there's been 2 or 3 requests that have come forward. We've told them we can't provide that connection, so they've gone to Rocky Mountain Power, who is the that area's, I mean, that's their service territory. So they kind of have the responsibility to provide that service to people out there. And they've come to us asking if we would be willing to sell a portion of our line to accommodate these requests. In the past, there's been a lot of discussion on this, and council and kind of like from city council and other administrative officials that maybe we ought to look at selling this area anyways, just because it's the only utility we have out there. And there was no other option of getting other utilities out there. So that's kind of been the history of what the discussions have been in the past. And so as when Rocky Mountain came to us and proposed this, you know, they want to be able to provide this service to these customers out there. Because they don't want to be kind of brought into the Public Utilities Commission for a denial of service type of thing. And so that's kind of where we're at, you know, trying to get some clarification and maybe some guidance on, you know, how we proceed. So I've put together a little bit to kind of just go through some of this, you know, the purpose why I'm here. And in your packet, I think you have most of this information, but so, you know, we had recent requests from property owners for property connection, and so we're looking at continuing that. So just the location, this is a picture, hopefully you can kind of see it. This is the area that Rocky Mountain is asking to purchase. It extends from, I can't remember what that is, 6600 South. So between about 6400 South and 6600 South.
Are they asking us, or did we approach them?
They're asking us,
Okay.
because when the property owners have come to us requesting a connection to our line, which is right there, and we say, no, we can't, then they go to Rocky Mountain Power because it's their service territory. And Rocky Mountain's like, well, we can, but you have to pay, you know, so many dollars to get from wherever our line is all the way to your property. And so Rocky Mountain's looking to purchase some of ours, so it will decrease that cost to the property owners to get power to their property. So what they're looking at purchasing, this green line represents our line. The black dots are poles. So there's kind of a list of assets there that I put together, what they would be purchasing if they were to purchase it. You know, it's a handful of poles, some transformers, wire, and then they would take over the service of 5 of our customers.
Larry, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
They don't want the other stuff we serve up on top of that?
They're not opposed to it, but it comes with some limitations, because what our voltages are out there are different from what their voltages are. And so if they were to purchase the whole area, they would have to come back through and change transformers and underground wire and insulators to accommodate their voltage. They're a higher voltage than we are. And so it would necessitate them to come back in and spend additional funds to upgrade all that stuff. And so they're not opposed to it. It's just right now that's, you know, and I'm still waiting to hear back from some of it, but like their main focus right now is just to accommodate these couple of requests that they've had come in. So With the assets, last year, because of all the discussion that's been going on about this, last year I had an engineering firm come in and do a total asset valuation for our infrastructure across the dam. So they came in, we provided them with all the information for what we have out there, our equipment lines, and they put together a valuation of what it would cost, for somebody to basically what it's worth. And so with that number, and I think I put that document inside your packet too, just so you can go through it.
Is it the one we're looking at?
No, these are numbers that I've pulled from that document. But in your packet, you have the full document. These numbers here just are based off of what they want to purchase, that small piece, that short section of line. And so,
Can I ask one question about that? Why was the Lindley's property kind of cut out from that?
I'll get to that one,
Oh,
but it's
okay.
kind of more like it's on based off of like logistics of where we can disconnect our line and then have them take it over.
Okay.
So, but these numbers here represent just the cost and the value of what we would be selling them. So material wise and equipment wise, it's estimated to be worth around $22,000. And there's 5 customers, 6 metered customers, I guess. One of them is just a well. But these are the customers that we would be losing and Rocky Mountain would be taking over. I did a kind of an average quick calculation of the revenue that we get every year from these customers, and it averages out to about $5,300 a year. So what we're losing each year, they'll make up for what they're purchasing this for in 5 to 7 years. And so, which I hate to lose revenue. That's it's what we're in the business for, right? So
Larry, maybe you're going to get to this later, but if there were any sort of trade with what Rocky Mountain Power has within Hiram city limits right now, do we know what the revenue generated on those properties are that are going to Rocky Mountain Power compared to what we're receiving here?
Yes, and not quite yet, but I've got all the information for the properties within Hiram City, mostly that are up there in the industrial park, and then there's a couple like LeGrand Johnson's, Cache County Building, and the storage units that are coming up into Hiram. Those are all in city limits, but are served by Rocky Mountain right now. So I've got all those meter informations and some data. And my rough calculation was like with our rates, when we take those over, like we'll be bringing in about $230,000 a year in revenue from those businesses.
From those.
Yeah. So, but compared to what the revenues are out across the dam, for an average year, we have 34 customers out there across the dam. On an average year, those 34 customers are bringing us in about $55,000 a year in revenue. So revenue wise, we're very heavy if we take over the.
Is that gross
commercial
revenue?
Yeah.
What's your net on that? If you tell me $1,200, then I'm going to say, well, I think we should.
No, that.
We're a nonprofit.
Yeah, we're nonprofit. So our net's 230,000.
What kind of a percentage do we make on that, Todd? Maybe we don't want to disclose that, but I mean, it's got to be profitable.
It would be profitable.
Oh,
Like, we make so much, because we buy it at what,
Yeah.
like 6, I don't know.
Yeah. What?
7 cents. It depends, how much, but, and then we charge what, like 11?
Mhm.
Margaret could get you a year for
Yeah,
you
Margaret
guys. She
could
could get
get
you a
it.
year
Okay.
to 2 year, because every day and every month and every week, like it changed the.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the numbers I've got are all based off of usage for an average, for the like last year. So what the average was. So it can vary from year to year or whatever, but it's a based usage. And so yeah, we do like those are revenues that just come straight to the city. That's covering costs for electricity. And then on top of that, we'd have maintenance costs, but that it's kind of hard to calculate that because we're like out in the dam. Like we've only been out there maybe twice in the last 2 years I've been here. So
That's just because you haven't been able to get across the
true.
spillway.
Yeah, we just said, oh, we forget it. You guys are so.
And it's probably newer equipment and stuff too.
A lot of it is. The overhead line is old. It's old. It's like 1969. I think some of the poles are.
Sure.
But a lot of the underground facilities up there are
Sure.
less than 15 years old. So. So this picture here represents just like of all the customers that are out there. If Rocky Mountain were to take over those 5 customers, they would take over the areas shaded in green, and we would retain the shaded blue areas. So we would retain 29 to 30 customers, and they would take the 5. And I got thinking like in our, well, actually, let me go back real quick to a couple of slides so I can answer Michael's question. So in this slide, you see that green line that's represented, and then there's the road that takes off 6400 South. So our line, that green line actually taps off and goes to the east and then goes up and feeds all those majority of those other houses. So
And this question is the one in regards to Lindley's
correct.
property.
Yeah. So Lindley is north of this section. So
He's closer to where the 2 green lines
and
meet.
let me,
The
well-
2 green lines meet.
yes, let me real quick. So there's 2 green lines up there, and
No, there's going to be a green line that
Oh, up
meets
there.
right there.
Okay.
oh shoot, now I'm not
And he
sharing
just
my
happens
screen
to be
anymore.
on the other side of the pole.
You are.
How do I get it to share this? Sorry, I went to the GIS just so you could see it, but it's maybe not sharing
If-
that.
If you went to the,
Okay.
if
there
you
we
went
go.
to your picture that showed the blue and the green, that were ones we were retaining and ones that were sold, will that show it? Oh, that one does right
This
there.
one here does. So,
Yep, that's
so
it.
you see the green line that kind of taps off. So we got our main line that comes north to south, that green line that taps off to the east. In order, we have to, so the section that Rocky Mountain wants to buy is south of that tap. And so in order for us to retain those customers up on the hill, we have to separate our line from what they want south of that tap. And so that puts Lindley
Yeah.
north of that tap, which would leave him onto our system.
But this is the area that we're selling, right?
So
No?
We're only selling this area. right
And everything
here.
to the
So there's,
east of
so
that?
basically, from these triangles represent a transformer. So basically from that transformer south would be the section that we're selling or we would propose to sell. Everything
Right.
there north, we would retain, and all of this that feeds this way would be ours as well. So it would include
County.
This property
So we
and these
basically are
properties down through
stopping
here.
kind of creating-
Currently, they have a request for connection for this property and some properties up here, but they were gonna dig an underground line to get to that property, so.
So on one of your prior slides, north of Lindley's there was a new customer request.
Yes, that's the,
Would that be part of the purchase or would that be retained?
so
By
right
Hiram.
now, currently, there's no
There's no
service
service there.
to
so-
that property. That's
Okay.
so
one
there's
of
no
the
cell.
property owners that's requesting a service. Yeah, so,
Because of our ordinance work.
You don't let
Um,
anybody connect.
Okay.
You haven't-
yeah, that green section to the very north, that's one of the requested properties that they would be
Why
serving.
wouldn't, if we've got Lindley, why wouldn't we provide power for that individual?
Because of our current code.
Just the code?
Yep,
We're outside the city limits.
yep.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
If we could amend the code to allow, certain connections that would benefit the city, maybe that would allow that, but.
Well, we
Ye-
open up a real Pandora's box if we do that.
Right. I mean, that is some discussion we need to have in the future because,
Yeah.
of areas that will be annexed into the city,
Yeah.
we need to be able to allow ourselves to provide a
Yeah.
connection to secure our corridors and our services,
And we've got
so.
the same issue on the north end
Correct, yep.
and on
And
Second
so-
West, so, yep.
So that's something we need to discuss, at some point, but like it's, it might not fix this area because this is a different beast, I guess you
Yeah.
could say, just because it's
We're not getting.
maybe not an
utilities
area
out
that
there.
we're gonna annex, but you never know, like 50 years down the road, who knows what's gonna happen, or we can annex it in and then we'll have to end up buying all this back, I don't know. So,
I see the property. I'm gonna just go to the next step because I have a concern there. We've had people that are up on the hill come and request connections
Yep.
and we tell them no because
Yep.
they are not in city limits. So in a sense, we've actually put a hard stop to them.
we've drawn a line there, yeah.
Yeah, and by doing that, that kind of holds them a little bit hostage to what they can do with their land.
Correct.
And they're in the county, and I think they should be able to have service. Okay, and so I'm kind of looking at what our ordinance does, and we're told that the Bureau of Reclamation doesn't want us running power, water, and sewer across the front of the spill bowl or the dam. And so if we're holding them hostage, we're kind of saying, hey, you can't have any power. And that seems like a real disservice. However, if we tell them yes, then I think there's another part of this that we're holding some people to a disservice, and that's our residents. They pay taxes that go into the county, and the county gives us back infrastructure or monies that we use in the city to maintain our infrastructures. In a sense, we use that for our roads and our electrical and our sewer and all those types of things. That means we've got basically services out there that are outside our city limits that we're currently, and the electrical is the one that's out there now.
Right.
And we're having our citizens pay for those services out there in a sense, not the service like the power, but the infrastructure.
Right.
And I don't think that's fair to our residents. I know I've talked to Stephanie about this, and she said we've had over the 30 years she's been here, engineering companies come and look at what it would take to get power and do all these types of things out there. And based on their studies, they said it's not feasible to really, that shouldn't be, how, you can say this
It
way
was
better
when-
than me.
It was when Hiram City, we were approached by a developer that was wanting to put in a golf course. So we hired two different consulting firms over the course of probably 5 or 6 years. And when each one of them came back after the studies were conducted that, well, one, the state law, and you shouldn't annex property unless you can provide the services. The Bureau will not let us take across any pressurized lines. So there's no water, no sewer. They've talked about without water, you can't really provide fire because you don't have fire hydrants. And so you're not providing some of the basic services that you should annex for. Power is different. I don't know if they have any restrictions on power lines going across the dam.
No, because
They-
we have them right now currently.
Yeah. I don't think they, care about the
Yeah.
power line. They said the only way, so one thing, we said, okay, well, if we build this bridge and you guys can, there was a bridge, where the engineers looked and it's the lowest place, the smallest place for the river.
7,700
Okay,
south.
where it could come across.
Mm.
And so if we could get a bridge there, then we could start to annex. But according to the law, you can't create an island or a peninsula. And the county's not going to allow us to do that if that Spillbowl Road is still left in the county and we just kind of annex around it. Because that Spillbowl Road is a very expensive road. And, now there's been improvements made, but back when the golf course discussion was, the consultant said Hiram City can't afford to risk this road. You would bankrupt your city because cities aren't, and again, it could have changed. I mean, this has been 2005, but cities aren't usually eligible for the same grants at a county level for that to be made a county road if the dam was to break or if the road needed, problems. Or one day the Bureau says no more roads, no more, there's not going to be a road going across it and they close it off. Then you had to come down to Mount Sterling and loop around, or if this bridge. And so their suggestion was to Hiram City, do not annex this property.
It's not feasible.
It's not feasible. Again, that's been, 20 years ago. I don't know if it's feasible, but I think this utility problems still exist.
So Larry, let me just, Lonnie, kind of cut to the chase here, because I think we all understand what the issue is here. If somebody builds a new house up there now, who provides power?
Currently, nobody would. It depending on where it's at. If it's near a Rocky Mountain line, they would. If it's not, the homeowner would have to be required to pay Rocky Mountain to bring a line down to their property.
Okay, so Hiram City's not providing power for any new homes right now across the dam on the side hill that we all see.
Correct.
Okay, so the question then is, do we leave that, accept the revenue that we receive from it, carry on? I gather what you're saying is it's an advantage to the city, that revenue, and it's not a hardship as far as servicing. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's my opinion. That's my view. And I feel it's a benefit for our department, for revenues. And I can speak to Michael's point on, maybe we're subsidizing, the citizens here are subsidizing the infrastructure over there. So the electric department's an enterprise fund. We, all the money that we get, we turn around and put it back into the system. Like we're not,
Yeah, I don't see how you're
And
subsidizing our citizens. I guess.
No, we don't subsidize
we're
the
not.
citizens.
The
But
citizens
the
are
citizens,
subsidizing.
Well,
But-
yes and no.
But so the people across the dam, they've paid their impact fees. They
to
pay
the county,
for,
right?
to us,
To Hiram City.
to Hiram City.
Oh, because they paid a connection fee.
Yep, they pay the connection fee. So they're no different than, the Hiram City, the citizens within the limits. they're still paying the same amount of money. They're still paying for their usage of electricity. And so the enterprise fund, pays for all the electrical infrastructure improvements.
Sure, but if let's just say there was a, I don't know, whatever it was, poles went down or a line broke or whatever, a transformer needs to be replaced or whatever, that comes out of the electrical fund
Correct.
that the city
Yep.
owns.
Right. Yep.
And I'm just, in my mind, it seems like the citizens are the ones that are paying for that infrastructure, not county residents.
Well, those funds come from,
The county?
no,
Oh.
the funds that we generate come from us selling them electricity. So we have that markup on our electricity. So whatever our revenues are goes into our bank account. And if we have, whether it's out there or inside the city, those funds are what fixes and replaces.
There's no difference between them and us as far as power goes.
No,
Zero.
no.
No, and that's what I'm saying. They're paying impact fees. They pay the same rates. They're paying into that enterprise fund. And so that's what I'm saying. Is it a hardship on the financial end of it, Todd? Is there any issues financially on your part?
If you look at it as a business aspect, it helps, right? The more customers you get, the more profit you make on each one. But being a city where you have geographical boundaries, there's no benefit to them to annex into the city ever if they're getting
Right.
power.
But they're paying for it.
Right.
Yeah, they're paying
For
for
the
it.
service.
They're paying, yeah.
Well, and
Financially or business sense, right? It
Yeah.
makes sense. But as a city sense,
Business-wise, it's a
little
no-brainer.
different, and your other right.
Yeah, because
business
any new connection, even that property owner's paying us. They're paying our time. They're paying our equipment. They're
Mhm.
paying all the material for us to hook them up. So from the city's perspective, it's not costing us a dime
And-
for even new connections.
And we're done
So-
expanding over there.
Right,
We're not expanding
No,
anymore.
and-
We're not soliciting new customers. So, I mean,
right. And I
it's-
would suggest, if we could amend the ordinance to, I mean, it's gonna help us to the north, as we annex that way, but maybe we can put in like some limitations or some, I don't know, something that says that, if our line, if this property owner's within 200 feet of our line, we could allow them to connect. Otherwise, they would have to go to Rocky Mountain and search for
and that
a
would hurt us
connection.
in the future annexation.
Because then we wouldn't be extending our line
Right.
anywhere. Like, we would just be like, okay, this is our primary line. We are not extending our primary line anywhere. But if your property is within, we can set those parameters, 100 feet, 150 feet, whatever. We could provide a connection there, and that would limit how many more we would have, because, I mean, there's only if it's in the county, they require a 10-acre parcel anyways for a home.
So we did have some requests for property in the last probably year and a half, right?
Correct. There's been
And-
3.
And when
So-
they've done that, we've said no to them.
Correct.
So based on what you're saying, would we tell them yes?
Well, like
Only-
I said, it's two different.
Yeah, you're
it's
not
business
apples.
sense compared to city.
Only if we could amend the ordinance. That's the only
Okay,
way
so
we
if
could
we
tell them
amend the
yes.
ordinance,
Services out there.
So
So why
North
would
is-
they want to annex it?
Yeah,
if
north
they
is
already have-
potential growth.
Correct.
South is finite. It's not going to grow, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
so
And you could put things like that in the ordinance that you're willing to look at anything going north,
sure.
but you're not south.
Yeah.
Or you're not east, or you're not west. The ordinance are set by you guys. One of the things that happened 2 years ago is when we had to have generators. was that 2 or 3 years ago when we had
That was
generators?
before
Because we
my
were
time,
having
but-
power shortages. And yet we had people outside city limits using it, but we stopped. That was when we first stopped annexing, especially to the west side, and looking at growth, because at that time we couldn't provide like we were relying upon generators to provide power
Right.
and possible
Yeah.
blackouts, which I don't think we ever had
Well,
the blackouts. The
no,
generators were always running.
mostly it was because of the cost of electricity to buy it on the market had gone through the roof. And so to generate it was more cost effective. I mean, you probably, to your point, there might be some truth to like the amount of energy that we needed, like we were maybe short, but
Yeah, it couldn't hold it, right? Wouldn't it blow? I can't remember.
Like in the middle of summer, we had to run those generators just to provide enough power for the whole city, right? Including the big businesses we
Right.
have here.
I don't know. And I know it's fixed there, but it's like once you have these customers, you can't ever just dump them. Like,
right.
they're-
And we don't want to because it's revenue. So-
Larry, is there any leverage there with Rocky Mountain to buy or acquire some of the properties that we talked about within Hiram city limits that are being serviced by Rocky Mountain Power? How do we?
As far as like just truing up the boundaries, or is that what kind of? I mean, because they're open to. I mean, we've already looked at.
Industrial park.
Right.
Yeah,
How do we
yeah.
get them
And we
back?
have residents too. There are residents.
Yeah,
throughout,
there's
like on
a
the west and on
there's
the
a
east.
couple.
I mean, there's just a handful.
Using this that they want, could this be used as leverage to help negotiate an arrangement where we could take back some of the Rocky Mountain powers that are within Hiram city limits currently?
So
Can
doing a
that be
sort of
worked?
trade?
Well, could that be worked into a deal somehow?
Well, and I've approached them about that. I haven't heard back on whether they would do a trade, like for, assets for assets type of thing. But we have approached them about acquiring certain assets over there, and they're okay. Like they're fine with it because they know it's within Hiram City and we have the right to serve them. So they're like, yeah, you just
So
you
that's
pay
my-
the money and
Yeah.
we'll give it to you.
That's my
So-
question is, I don't know that we even need to talk trading with them.
gonna purchase it outright?
It is what it is. They know it's in Hiram city
Right.
limits and they're willing to
Yeah.
to negotiate with
It's
us.
just
and-
never been approached to them really before to
Yeah.
take it over. And so
Right.
that's just been
So
how it's
why,
been. so.
why wouldn't we try to use this as a trade? I'm just
I,
curious.
no, I mean, there's no reason for a trade. I mean, I
We'll
don't
just-
see any
we'll
reason.
just take it over.
Because
We
it's,
just-
because it's in our city limits.
It's in our
is that
city
what you're
limits
saying?
and they're
Oh,
willing
but
to
we
sell
wouldn't
it.
have to- We wouldn't have to purchase
We
it.
wouldn't have, we'd have to purchase it from them, I'm sure, wouldn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd
Right,
purchase it
so-
from them, but I'm
So
not sure.
Instead of, I guess what I'm saying,
Swapping
instead
money.
of Rocky Mountain Power paying us for this dedicated section, can we work something or at least look at something where instead of them paying us for these properties, that we could acquire some that Rocky Mountain Power has within Hiram city limits?
Yeah.
And do
And
it
that,
for
that
the
value,
trade,
so
Rocky
you're,
Mountain
you're
and-
saying that 22,000 that he's put a
Well-
price on for that bit, are you talking about the whole hillside?
No, not the whole.
No.
Obviously, we'd have to
No,
take, I
just
mean,
the-
valuations
yeah.
would be
Right.
different.
Yeah.
But is it worth just taking the 22
Right.
or is it worth going into negotiations to talk about maybe even a long-term plan to try
Maybe.
to,
Knocking
acquire
off the
that.
price of something else. Or,
Right.
You know, the scope of it
I
is,
don't know.
is so much larger than just that though, isn't it?
Well,
Larry?
it
As far
is.
as-
I mean,
because
it's-
we're talking the power line that they just run up from 4400 South.
Mhm.
And they've
See.
put, that's Rocky Mountain up to Green Gas now.
Yep. And seeing that's going to cause us an issue.
There's
so.
some real,
Well, maybe
But-
where that's a supply line to us, I probably would say, hey, that's not what we're really talking about. I think we're after, you said there's residents that are being supplied by Rocky Mountain. And then I know up by Hammer Road, we have businesses
a lot
up
of the
there.
industrial park is
Right.
Rocky Mountain.
Right. So that's the trade I'm talking about, not the trade where we've just had a new power line that's a power line, I won't call it a support line, transmission line to us, right? We reran that from the highway out to by JBS or
That's what we're working on, but
yeah,
that one out there is Rocky Mountains line that's currently
right,
there.
right.
And because we weren't able to provide green gas with a connection, they had to go to Rocky Mountain Power, and Rocky Mountain Power
Supplies
provided
them,
that,
right.
which their line got put right in our corridor that we need for our new transmission line. And so so now we're going to have to go back and purchase that from Rocky Mountain Power when we put in our transmission line. And
Sure.
so
Do they
it's,
use the same appraisal system that we used, or do they say
Um,
that theirs is worth more than what we think ours is? Like,
I,
you know, is
yeah,
it
I
like-
don't know what appraisal system, they have an internal one, so I don't know how they come up with their numbers, but as I was going through our appraisal and kind of an appraisal that they gave us for LeGrand Johnson's and the Cache County building line there, I was kind of basing things, kind of trying to, equal them out. So yeah, I don't know, to answer your question. I don't know how they appraise it. I'm sure they're pretty similar because it's an electrical engineering firm that did ours. They probably have electrical engineers that do theirs. So it's,
Is that
So some
aging
people do
infrastructure
report
too,
that.
that's the ones inside Hiram City? How
It-
big would those lines?
yeah, I don't know the years, like
They would be
the
older.
Cache County and the LeGrand Johnson one's fairly newer, like, because they've rebuilt that one, but up in the industrial park, there's some older stuff up there that might be similar age, like maybe a little
And then
newer,
it's
but
the west side of the highway after you pass Ninth West. I think there's 3 homes. And then east, 8th east of Mountain Crest, the last annexation. I don't know if the vet clinic, is it on Hiram?
it's ours, yeah.
And so then further out, we would have Corey Nielsen's house that's on Rocky Mountain Power. And then I don't know I think Mike Larson's house is on Rocky Mountain Power.
Is he on the,
He's on the
Going
lower
out
road going
north.
6 on
off the
In-
Third North and then turn out to the highway left.
oh,
Yeah, I don't know. how
no,
some of
that's
those-
that's all us.
Well, they're not annexed into the city, like Mike Larson's not.
You're
He's in
right,
the
Mike's
corner.
not. We ran the water lines in front. Okay, so that wouldn't matter
But
anyway. So
anyways.
his house isn't, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You made
Well-
good sell
There
to
are
us
3 homes.
about
that I can think of.
money being generated because they're on a service and we supply them with power, then it only makes sense. The more customers we have, the more money we're making, right? I mean,
Right.
Right.
yeah.
But
so
that-
why wouldn't we say, hey, boy, this would be a really good time to say,
Just
let's
start
do some kind of a trade. I mean, they got $21,000 of property and we say, hey, what can we negotiate with up by Hammer Road or some of these other spots? I know we had a big discussion and I'm reading something from Craig and he said, I think proceeding with the sale or transfer of property, if possible, for Rocky Mountain infrastructure within the city limits is the best approach. So I know he was in support of this. I think we talked about this probably 2 months ago.
Yeah, a few months
And,
ago.
and I just saw that as a real plus. And I'm thinking, hey, this is a good time to we've got some money and or that we were going to sell to them some infrastructure. And I'm thinking, hey, a good time to trade, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oh, sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, but like you got to think, if you're getting power or whatever, they may not want to annex because let's be honest, they'll pay higher property taxes maybe if they annex.
I'm not
into the
talking about
city.
grabbing other ones up above the dam. I'm just saying the ones that are currently
Already.
there.
Ones that are already in
Yes.
the
Right.
city
Yes.
Right.
limits.
But I'm just saying, if we extend power lines into, that's the only downside I can see
Yes.
to outside city limits.
Yes.
Is that you they may not, and it may stop future annexations.
Well, and I did reach out to John, our attorney, and asked him about that. And he said it is possible to tie a purchase agreement to a property. So like, or an annexation agreement to a property. So if any portion of that property abutted city limits, then they would have to annex. And that would be something like if that property owner wanted power, they would sign that annexation agreement basically, and that would force, and it would be tied to the property. So that property would then, you know, at that time be annexed in if it needed to be. So, well, I don't want to take a lot of your time, but so, well, that was a giggle.
You took Craig's time, so.
Oh, that's true. We're making up for
You got
it.
another
He's
30
gonna hate
minutes.
that.
This slide here just represents, I pulled from the Cache County's GIS website, kind of Hiram City's declaration boundary, which was, you know, I don't know when that was even put in. It was,
2002, and
So,
basically.
it hasn't
you
changed
sent- no,
since then, but
We can't even annex half of the property because it's already been annexed by Nibley. Like what
So-
the annexation boundary declaration did was just like, this is where one day, just pick points and think. And so Wellsville, we had an agreement, like Wellsville, it's like the Meridian Road, but our
Mhm.
annexation agreement should probably be changed and they should cross, because if utilities go down the Meridian Road, that's going to be expensive. And so if Wellsville puts it there first, you know, both sides, or if
Yeah.
Hiram puts it there, then both sides, because you're not going to get utility down both sides.
Mm.
So the annexation
Well-
area needs to be changed
yeah.
and
And
revisited.
I talked to Brian Carver, who's the
Yeah.
consultant on the new general plan, and he told me that nothing's changing, at least right now. At least the map hasn't changed yet. But so what I have this up here for is just to represent our transmission line. The green line is our current existing transmission line. The light blue line is our new route that we want to get over to West Point Dairy, and that will upgrade our entire system. The red line represents a future transmission loop that, you know, as the city grows, it becomes more increasingly difficult to maintain our system and keep the power on and to be able to maintain it safely. So what a transmission loop does is allows us to open sections of that transmission line to work on it and maintain it. It also gives us access points for future substations. So as we grow and annex, you know, whatever distance or direction it might be, we have to really consider like securing those corridors that we can get right of way or a utility easement, that we can have that option. You know, this might be, you know, 30, 40, 50 years down the road, but at least we'll be able to secure a right of way to provide this and to be able to maintain a reliable system. So that's kind of what I had that one in there for. So I guess when it comes down to it, there's, you know, a couple of options with regards to selling this section of line to Rocky Mountain. We can either retain the ownership and keep the revenues. It would require us to amend the ordinance with maybe some parameters that say, you know, certain connections would be allowed, but they have to meet these criteria. Or we go the Rocky Mountain Power purchase, you know, allow them to purchase that little section of line and start providing their customers that are within their territory. We'd be relinquishing some of that revenue, but you know, it would all have to hinge on some purchase agreements and trade agreements if that's something we want to pursue But I know they're, you know, with there being, we found out that any sale of assets like this requires a notice, basically posted notice. And so, so we can't really make any decisions, I guess.
Posted notice and then was there an agreement?
Publicly noticed.
Yep, and then an agreement.
And then,
with this
and then the
release.
agreement with Rocky Mountain Power, but.
But if we're only selling a portion of it and still retaining other
The
portions of it,
majority.
we're still servicing, I mean, the lines are already out there, so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess, is it better to amend the ordinance to allow connections on that existing line?
Well, I think,
Or-
yeah, I think we need to amend the ordinance at some point anyways, just to, protect our interests on the north side of the boundary, you know?
But I think,
So, but-
Stephanie is saying we can amend our ordinance and say to the north and,
Right.
or.
Or with
to
some
the
parameters
west.
or criteria or something, yeah. So, and that's
Or
something,
if you're looking
something
for-
I can work on, you know, but I,
To like, Todd is right. That's why we stopped allowing any connections outside the city limits, because once a home is built, we can't force them to annex. The law does not allow you to force anybody to annex. So once, well, if they're over a half an acre lot. So once they have their services, they can block an annexation. And you can see on our maps where people are blocking annexations because they have the services that they want. So it's not just providing revenue. It's also how your city is going to grow. And if you allow connections outside city limits, you can't force these people to annex. You can't get connecting points. You're going to start creating islands. You're going to start creating peninsulas, and then you get weird
Right.
boundaries that isn't convenient to provide utilities. But I do know Larry has corridors that we need, and if we would have had that, so I think we could amend the ordinance that said, like, here's a map of our corridor. This is where this line is
If it's very
critical,
specific.
and if it's in this specific area, we could do. I mean, that's up to you guys to decide. But I think,
Right.
like what
Well,
happened with whatever,
Green
like,
gas, yeah.
that stopped something that could have happened.
Yeah.
But also, if you open the door and you don't have those specific parameters, you're going to stop annexation because people are going to go and find the cheapest utility possible. That's why everybody across the dam wants to connect to Hiram City's power. They can't connect to Rocky Mountain Power, but it's going to cost them more to do so.
Yeah.
But out there, I'm not as worried about annexation because I don't know how Hiram City will ever,
Yeah.
even in 50 years, annex be
Right.
able to annex that
Right.
property.
And the
And that-
residents
and
out there
serve.
don't want to either.
No, residents don't want to annex into a city. That's why they're out there.
right. But, and out there though, like, we're limited on actual properties that we could actually allow a connection to anyways. Cause I mean, there's Rocky Mountain's pretty close now. So anything beyond our existing line, like Rocky Mountain would serve them right now. But it's those customers that are like, they've got a transformer right here that they could tie on to, you know, why, you know, it only makes sense. And it, you know, it's financially good for us. It's financially good for the property owner, you know, but, and those properties are limited. So, I mean, you're talking a handful that would be able to, if we set like some parameters, like saying, you know, you have to be within, you know, 100 feet of our primary line to connect, you know,
So then
which,
if they did, does that extend our primary line again?
no, I wouldn't extend the primary line. It would have to be connected to existing infrastructure.
I know I'm
So-
going to be the little risk. Like, I don't mean to be negative because there's a lot of positive things too, but I also want you to make sure that you guys are aware. Out there isn't water. It's a dry hillside. If our lines spark or if there's a fire, Hiram City will be responsible. We will be rebuilding those lines. And so there is a financial, I mean, yes, you're getting, you know, whatever the profit of 5,300 is a year, but there's also a risk that can come back on Hiram City for line maintenance if there was a fire. So I don't think there will be, but I know people are trying to get rid of their power lines.
Let's
Right.
talk Lahaina.
Behind that. Oh, yeah.
They were right next to an ocean and it burned down.
Yeah,
So,
like,
so
I just don't want to be the pessimist, but I would rather see Blacksmith Fort Canyon be given to Rocky Mountain.
well,
Right?
that's
a huge
that's not
risk.
going to ever happen because they don't want it. So,
No, they won't.
and we have a hydro up there, so we have to keep it. But
But there's just
So,
risks with wines.
then, and there's risk. Yeah, there are. And there's, I mean, there's risks within the city too. There's areas that, that can happen the same way, but
So Larry, given all of this, I think, there's no decision here really to be made. This is a discussion.
right.
I think it'd be good for you to go back and then maybe come back to the council with a recommendation. You've had enough input, I think, that you could really kind of, evaluate everything that's been said, and let's start looking at maybe some options that you put together, some general recommendations that I think we follow, because I think we all have a pretty good feel for, where we're at, what needs to be done, how we could go about it. And I think, we certainly trust your judgment.
Yeah.
And that might be the best route to go, is keep
Well, and-
working on this, but let's
Yeah.
start putting maybe some
Yeah.
ideas together that you would recommend to the council.
Okay. Well, and just with the caveat that my recommendations will be based on my biases for revenues and providing power to the customer. So,
Well, we know your heart's right next to your wallet, and we like that. That's a good thing, Larry.
but no, I will bring back some recommendations, and, we can go over them, and, if it comes to like, we want to sell that piece, I mean, we'll have to publicly notice it, like, before an approval can be made anyways, but yeah.
Yeah.
I can certainly do that. So,
Okay, let's do that.
okay. Well, any other questions? I appreciate your time. Sorry, it probably took way longer than it should have, but
No, that was
No,
good. That was good.
I will
it's
tell you this.
important. So,
Yeah.
I guess I have a personal opinion, and I just would like to share that with you. I'm like, why wouldn't we, if the dam is kind of a hinderment to us, and we're going to potentially sell this one piece, why wouldn't we extend that to, and this is just the question that I have, and my mind's thinking, well, why wouldn't we just sell everything past the dam? That's out of our city limits. That's my question. That's my thought.
well, that's been suggested and discussed previously, and I know we've approached Rocky Mountain Power about that. At this point, I don't think they're willing to purchase the whole thing just because of the cost of the purchase itself, plus the added infrastructure and stuff that they would have to put into it because it's two different voltages. I mean, they would be, doubling their price on, to buy it, to take care of those customers. But you're right. I mean, it's, if you're going to sell it, but
Well,
why,
you can
why
put-
sell it when you can bring in
And we had talked about, or I had mentioned,
$60,000 a
even
year? So,
if it was a long-term plan, like to buy it incrementally over the next 5, 10,
Right.
15 years or whatever, as they upgraded infrastructure along the way. But
well, and yeah, I mean, it can be a challenge that way because you have to upgrade pretty much all at once because of the
Oh.
voltages.
Oh,
Like you
okay.
can't,
So you couldn't do it
you can't
incrementally.
split it.
Okay.
So,
So I think we need also maybe a little more information with regard to up at the industrial park. We've
Yeah.
talked about that kind of in general terms, but I think, if we knew what they had and what, you talked to me about it a little bit. We were up there and we've kind of discussed that as far as, all the transformers is actually different voltages, I think you mentioned, and different.
Yeah.
Evaluations.
Yeah,
were up there would
and
be-
and so
We
maybe,
would be doing the opposite and if we purchase that, we'd be saying, oh, now we gotta maintain this. So we wanted it at the voltages that we have as opposed to what Rocky
Yeah.
Mountain has, right?
yeah, but luckily up there, their primary voltage is the same as our primary
Oh,
voltage.
okay.
So that, in regards to that wouldn't change much. It might just be like, based on customers, like if one customer needs something different than what we can provide, but that would be on an individual basis anyway. So, but yeah, I can get numbers and
Yeah.
in fact, I've got some numbers, like I've got all their usage information for each meter that they have up there. And I can plug that into, revenues, and they haven't given me a cost on what it would cost us to purchase all of their area, but
Could
but
you
I
do a
can-
pro forma on that? Say, okay, here's the Rocky Mountain customers. If we had those, this is what it would generate.
Mhm.
And, let us look at it that way. And, I know one of the main concerns up there with a lot of the businesses, they don't have three-phase.
Correct.
And
Well,
that,
and even in our section of it,
right.
there's customers that don't just because they didn't want to pay to put it in, but
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah.
So anyway, I think let's maybe give you that assignment and work on that, and let's keep addressing it. I think
Okay.
we need to move.
Okay, happy to do that. So
Okay.
And if the city were to get the industrial park, we have a better opportunity to govern what's in there, because right now we don't know when people are coming and going out of there, because some
That's
don't
right.
have water connections, and so it's like without power and changing utilities, we don't know who's in there. We don't know what businesses are operating. And so
Sure.
if we had
Yeah.
that industrial park,
True.
it would give us a little bit more insight of what's happening.
You would make
Yeah.
a great city council person.
Yeah.
No, I get
Okay.
paid. I don't volunteer.
except for she doesn't live within the city. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
I get paid.
All right.
You-
Anything else?
Nope, go home.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right,
Larry.
thanks.
Home's the other way, Larry. Okay. All right, consideration and award of bid for the 2026-27 road rebuild projects. Have you all had a chance to look at that?
No.
Any questions on that?
No.
Okay. I know Kate goes over that in great detail and has done a great job, so I don't know that we need to spend a lot of time on that.
Can we make a motion to approve the,
To accept the bid.
yeah, accept the bid from, and then is that where we are?
Yep.
Can I do that?
LaGrange Johnson.
Yep.
Yep.
I would
Yeah.
like
Yep.
to make that proposal. Accept that.
Okay.
Say in the amount of 120.
In amount of $126,758 to LeGrand Johnson.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I don't vote, so. All right, let's move on. Do you have your,
Another
I
bid.
lost it on my
Let's see.
consideration and award for the bid of the 26-27 Slurry Sill Road projects. Did you take a look at that one?
Mhm.
Any questions, any concerns?
No.
No.
They seem very similar.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve consideration or award the bid for the 2026-2027 Slurry Seal Road projects to M&M Asphalt in the amount of $81,980.
Second it.
okay, a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item D, consideration and award of the bid for the Elite Hall renovations, architectural and engineering proposals. I think in your package, you saw we had 3 bids. And I know that we had first talked to RWL, and they came back actually and had to kind of go in and requote. Well, I'll just let you discuss any items that you want to discuss there with regard to that. Any of you? You saw Craig's.
What were the things that needed to be rebid? What was the?
Well, he didn't have, there were some things that, it wasn't really apples to apples. You remember, Todd
I can cover that one if you'd like me to.
or Dan?
Yeah, so Craig had some notes about when he originally saw these bids. that Design RWL didn't address certain things that were in the scope of work. And so we went back and asked them, mainly because they were under $40,000 or $45,000. And so we were actually able to just award it to them as the low bidder if we wanted to, without having to bring it to the council, because it was below that threshold. But we wanted to make sure that they actually understood the scope of work before we did that. Since we went back and asked them those things, they came back and they raised their bid price, and then they addressed some of those things. So it's obvious that they didn't quite understand the scope of work that we had requested originally. So when we asked them to clarify, it wasn't just a, yes, I'll cover all those things as well. It was more of a, oh, I'll go ahead and I need to raise my price for that. So we felt at that point, since we asked them to clarify and they came back with another bid, that their first bid really wasn't getting what we wanted. And so at that point, we relooked at the bids, and staff is recommending Case Low and Hart as our bid, the second bid.
Okay.
And I am sorry, I did not include the summary in you guys' packet that these guys had prepared.
Didn't you
I
send them?
just
Yeah, I
noticed
did.
that.
I did, yeah.
See that.
You sent
Yeah,
Like
there's
on the
not a
other one.
summary.
Just
So I apologize that the summary wasn't in there to
Staff
explain everything.
recommendations, it's okay. But staff recommendation was CLH, you
Yeah,
said.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And it's mainly because we felt that with the lack of understanding of that scope of work, they were all there together when they saw that. They just didn't seem to have the same proposal that the other two companies had. And then Case Low and Hart's price was better than Design West.
And Craig had made a note also that Steve Peterson has worked with the Historic Preservation Committee and Foundation for several years and understands Elite Hall and what's required to complete the intended scope of work.
Yeah, that's correct. Case Low and Hart did all the design work for the annex whenever they were doing the annex, and they did a lot of that preparation work too as well. So they already know the building really well and are familiar with the historic restrictions for that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so
44.
let's see. I'm looking at the wording here. Okay. So I move to award the bid of for Elite Hall renovations, architectural and engineering proposal to the CLH in the amount of, is it the $44,900?
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we move ahead with that. That's good for you, Dan.
That's good, yes.
Okay, any comments?
That's what staff recommended. That's what we wanted, so.
Okay,
So on these contracts, do you want to sign those, Mayor, or do you want Daniel to sign those?
I want Dan to sign those. I don't want my name on it.
Great.
Not that kind of money. Okay, now, what we've all been waiting for.
Sorry. You're gonna go. Boy, those
This
guys
is
have
At
long
least what
meetings.
Camilla's been waiting for.
Yes.
I just hope she's still willing to take
I
the
do
two.
too.
I'm done.
And then she's had to-
Yeah, we should have had
meeting.
her first and then you can go home.
Let her go home.
Let's get them ring.
Yeah.
Paid Craig.
Well, now this, item E, the consideration and appointment of our city engineer,
That was not
Camilla
something
Schultz. Is there any discussion, any further discussion that we need on this consideration?
I think it's come with high recommendations from council and from staff and
Just out of curiosity, I know you were on the interviewing committee.
That's correct, yes.
Were you on the, and who, did we have anybody else?
So it was
Rebecca.
Rebecca was.
Oh,
I
okay.
wasn't on Camilla's,
Oh,
Craig was on Camilla's. I
Okay,
was
so
on
Craig
Camilla's.
was.
Yeah. So one of the applicants was one of Craig's employees, so he backed out of the committee after we interviewed Camilla. So,
Okay.
so it was me and Craig, Cade, Angela, Tony, and Stephanie
Okay.
on the hiring committee. And then Rebecca filled in for Craig whenever he couldn't do it.
And I did read Craig was, what his recommendation too.
Yeah.
It's
Very
like,
happy.
yeah, so good.
We like to keep Craig happy, right?
Yeah, the entire hiring committee originally was completely unanimous. I think it's still fully unanimous at this point. This was the choice.
Okay.
Okay, so Camilla, any second thoughts?
I'm here.
Okay,
She's
that's
stuck now.
wonderful. Great.
4-hour council.
We just need a motion to appoint.
So I move to appoint Camilla Schultz as our city engineer.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion in 2 seconds. That's pretty good.
Oh.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, congratulations and welcome aboard. Thanks. Yeah, great. Okay, let's move into any reports that we might have. Let me just say for Mont, what an incredible night against crime it
Yeah.
was. It was,
It was good.
I think Rex and I cooked 900 hamburgers.
Yeah, you were busy.
So
And
it,
Shriver's donated the cheese, did they then?
Schreiber's, I think, donated cheese.
Yeah.
JBS, we thank for the meat.
Mhm.
And it was just an incredible success.
It was.
Fun to have Lifelike come like that.
Yep.
And it was a very great success. So Rebecca?
Quick update on the library. The library saw 11,666 visitors during July. They issued 49 new library cards, 25 from Hiram, 3 from Wellsville, 17 from Nibley, and 4 from the county. July also wrapped up the summer reading program, and on July 30th, they celebrated with the pool party over at the Logan Aquatic Center. They had over 800 library patrons in attendance. They enjoyed pizza and swimming, and they celebrated over 25,000 hours of reading by children and teens and over 4,000 titles read by adults. And Emily says they're all desperately trying to recuperate from that evening, but it was a great night and a great success for the library for their summer party and great turnout. So
Yeah, it's incredible.
yeah, they do an amazing job. It's a fun program and grows every year.
I wonder if they had to clean the pool after.
Not many people. It's like standing room only.
It's a lot of pizza too.
I can't do it.
Yep.
Rose this much afterwards.
Okay, Naylin?
So the senior center, their new assistant help started on Monday, and Jessie is over the moon. They're so excited to have her. Also, let's see, there was something else I was going to say about the senior center. Oh, there was one of the women at the senior center that said, "How come the senior center's never in the mayor's letter every month?" So they want some airtime.
I've only been in 7 months. They're on the list.
Okay.
But it's a
Anyway.
good request.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But they've had 100 people fill out their little questionnaire survey thing that he has them do. We have about half that are Hiram residents and half that are from
Visitors.
outside.
Really?
Yep. Yep.
Can I address that as well?
Yes.
I did talk to Wellsville, Scott Wells from Wellsville, and he said they might be interested in working with us to help pay for some of their residents that come over here, because I think
Nice.
they have about 12 to
12,
15%.
yeah,
somewhere in
I
that
was
range
wanting
of
to
our
say.
of our people come from Wellsville. So he said, yeah, we could talk
Yeah.
about that. So we're going to talk about that
Good.
aspect of it.
Currently, the only one that contributes is Nibley.
correct.
And I know at our board meeting, Jesse talked about maybe going to the county and seeing if the county wants to kick in.
Great idea.
But anyway, youth council, they're just awesome. And they do so much for the city. They helped out a lot at the Night Out Against Crime. But yeah, they're great. Also, we have coming up the National Day of Service on September 11th and 12th. And so we've got projects that we're working on. I've been working with Ned and Micah. I've got a couple of what we're wanting to do is get on each project, have project managers. And so I've got 3 of those. I've got a couple more people that I need to contact to do that. But we've also got the youth council involved in that. They are collecting supplies for hygiene kits that then they are going to put together. So we'll be putting drop boxes in different locations so that people can donate. But yeah, that's basically what's going on there.
Good for you. Michael?
2 things, or actually about 4 items. Night Out Against Crime, we did have a ham radio booth that was shared with the CERT booth. And they did have people try to contact people, I think it has people as far away as California.
Wow.
So, but they were using what's called HF radio, so it wasn't the handhelds. Those we can get down into Arizona and up into Montana, but that wasn't something we were doing. We did try something a little different though with the HF radio. We had a emergency training series last month, and it was on water and storage and purification. And there was a request that they wanted to know if it was possible for us to look at purchasing, having a purchase of about a semi-load of barrels, but make sure people had orders in and help people get water barrels and water. So I said, I will talk to the city and we'll think about what to get a break. There's a company down in Clearfield that makes those type of water storage for people and things. So I got to do a little more research before I come to request that. But that was something that was asked in the class. We are having sanitation and human waste as part of the emergency training series for the month of August. It'll be August 25th. That will be the last. We had 4 different ones. And I asked, hey, is this something you guys want to continue? And I had a couple requests of a couple different topics that they thought they might be interested. I'll see what happens after this last one to see if we continue. One of the things that was asked as part of the emergency training series, if it was possible to do a mock breakdown emergency of our water system. Say like our water line broke at the mouth of the canyon, and can we get water to our residents? I talked to Kate a little bit about this, and he said that based on where he thought we could take water from, if the water line broke, we'd probably use there's a, I'm trying to think of the word, a well across from Ridley's. And he said we could do a mock trial and have people go collect water for a day or a couple hours and see, people could practice or see that it worked. And he thought there might be a couple other locations that we could do that. So we basically could we won't do that, turning water lines off. But if we did, he said there's spots that we could be key places to provide water to residents. So something we might want to try if you guys agree to that, something to let us do and have city employees be there to fill containers, and then residents could say, hey, I was part of the test and it worked out fine and we were able to get water. So I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well,
We'd just be testing.
yeah, I don't think we need citizens to, we could test it. And see
Okay.
if we can
Well,
make
I'm
it
just
work.
trying to
You're
see
a
if-
citizen, but
Sure.
I mean, give us a little bit of how it would run.
I don't know. That's something I'd have to kind of design and come back to you. But
Yeah.
didn't know if that was something you're interested in. And
Well, I think it's something if we were testing, I think, city council could go up and we could test it. And,
Sure.
and if it works for us, it's going to work for everybody.
Everybody
anyway,
else, sure.
I would think.
So
So,
anyway, I think that's it for me.
so I sent you an email. Did you see that email I sent you on Ready, Set, Go?
No.
So, take a look at that.
When did you send it?
I was today.
Oh, okay.
I was at a mayor's meeting and Mark Anderson, whose home was impacted by the fire
Oh, yeah.
on Cliffs or the hillside there. He said, on Canyon Road. He said they have an emergency plan in place that is ready, set, go. He said when they contacted him, it was just go. There was no
Mhm.
ready, no set. It was go. They came and then said, you have no time, you evacuate now. And
Mhm.
so
Thank you.
he really has an incredible emergency preparedness man that works for Logan City, individual. Maybe it's a team, but he said he is a good resource for your communities if you want to reach out and talk emergency preparedness and get some ideas exactly what that means. Have you heard of Ready, Set, Go?
No, not at all.
So you might visit with him. It's in that
Mark,
email.
okay.
Well, the
Oh, the
individual's name
individual.
that I
Okay,
sent you,
got
so
ya.
you can take a look at that. That'd be really good, I think.
Mayor, did he say how they notified the residents? I know they got a phone call
They
and
got-
that had me question, was it Logan City's call out system or was it 911? Like, is it the
The reverse
emergency?
911.
Yeah, did he say?
He didn't say, Stephanie, but that's something Michael could find out.
He
'cause I'm
did
not
say,
sure.
on the interview when he was on TV.
Yeah.
With the president of USU, he said that he got reverse 911.
Okay.
was reverse.
So it's,
Okay.
okay.
I
good.
just, I worry about our call out system being sufficient if it was
Yeah.
an emergency.
Yeah, that's a good question. Is it reliable?
When they told them time to go, they didn't say, hey, you got 30 minutes.
No.
They said they want you out.
Yeah, you're gone right now. In the next 5 minutes, you're out of here. 3 minutes. It was just get in the car and go. And so he said, you think, you'd have time to kind of get what you want. He says, you don't. When that fire's coming down the hill and it's coming at your house, it's, you go get in the car and get out of there. It's forget everything else and go.
So it's not even grab your 72-hour kit and be
Yeah.
gone. You're
And
gone.
so, yeah. But he gave a great presentation, great interview, but at the mayor's meeting, he went into more detail and just really encouraged, every community, you really need to look at this and have a ready, set, go plan in place because it was very effective for Logan City with what they did.
I talked to Will Lusk about disasters today. I saw him at the fairground and he just said, well, we had that happen this last weekend in Logan. And he said, so this ought to be on people's minds a little more.
Yeah.
And then they had the active shooter up in Twin Falls. And so
Yeah.
he said, hey, it's happening and our people are, he kind of feels like people are a little bit complacent. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, if you'd contact him, I think that'd give,
Yeah.
and then maybe give us a report. Also, Kate and I met with a landowner on the southeast side and have identified a piece of property up there that has the elevation and the landowner is very willing to work with us on purchase or a trade for an additional well that we would put in that would kind of take care of the southeast side of the city and also give us an extra source of water. And so we're just starting that process right now of looking into that more and
We know can you share the landowner name or does he?
I'm not going to
Oh,
right
okay.
now. I'll keep that kind of just close to the vest until we have a deal in place. We won't get into that, but that looks pretty promising. Also, the fire board, I think just a real thumbnail sketch of what's happening is very positive as we are now establishing a south end district, a north end district, Hiram being the nebulous of or the hub for the south end, Smithfield being the hub for the north end, and establishing an advisory board, if you will, where all of the mayors are on the advisory board on the south end. And it's giving them the input and the power they feel like they need to run the fire district on the south end. And George Daines is doing an incredible job of formulating the numbers and making that so it's going to be, I think, a very viable solution. There's a few cities that are maybe not sold on it yet, maybe just coming along, and some of those cities that don't have fire assets, and they're kind of feeling like maybe something different would be better, but they see the good in the direction that George is going. So it's coming along, I think, at a pretty good pace. He wants to have this in place pretty much by October. And so he's pushing that hard so that he can get it approved by the county. So that's something that's very positive right now. We had a citizen group come in on Monday and really were quite upset about the odors that have been very, very prevalent for the past 2 or 3 weeks. And the reason being is the landscaping company has been piling all of the product they're purchasing from, or that JBS is paying them to take. They've been piling that up for a long time, and the landscaping company just purchased a windrow turner, very, very expensive piece of equipment that actually straddles the windrow, and then it augers and turns it to aerate it and to accelerate the drying process, essentially. And so it's put some incredibly foul odors into the air over the past 2 weeks. We even had a church leader call and said he had canceled his youth activities. Yeah, they had a youth conference, actually, kind of a 2-day activity going, and they had canceled it entirely because the stench was so incredibly bad. So I've been trying to work with the landscaping company, and also we had the Herald Journal come out, actually, and they wanted to do a report on the smell and the stench. So it's at a very critical point, I think, in the city right now, and we're trying to work through maybe some potential litigation there, but we're not sure yet. I'm not going to say that we are, but that's an option the citizen group was quite upset about. So we're dealing with that, and other than that, there's always a lot of things going on. So appreciate all you're doing, and grateful for Stephanie, and she doesn't ever sleep, I don't think. She's here 24 hours a day.
No.
We
Like I
slide
said,
a-
I get paid. You guys volunteer and you do an amazing job.
Slide a hamburger under the door every once in a while, and
No, it's gummy bears. That's
Gummy
right.
bears.
He
So-
knows where my heart is.
yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anyway, a lot of good things, a lot
We
of good
did
things
finish
happen.
up the candy cabin today too.
Oh, today was the
Yep.
the finale?
Yep, we're going to, for the movie in the park on the 14th, we're going to take the rest of our inventory, mark it 50% off.
Oh, good.
See if we can get rid of more of it.
What's half of 5 cents?
They just get,
No
they
more
just
rounds.
get, they just get double the product.
Where can you
Yeah,
buy
right.
5-cent candy?
Used to be penny candy. so
Yeah.
they did away with the pennies.
Yeah. So anyway, good things are happening, and things are going to even be better now with Camilla on board. I know Tony's excited. That's great. So welcome aboard. Okay. That's all I have.
I move to adjourn this meeting.
Let's go home.
Second.
Okay. Oh, my goodness.
Amazing.
Yes.
How do you turn that off, that YouTube off?
Yep, let me turn it on.
Is it off?